this American guy comes up to me and he said, "Hey, gringo, you want to make some real money?" They took us up to the mountains where they got and we started swallowing 10. We started taking trips, Venezuela, Aruba, Colombia. Drug task force jumped on us. I'm going to jail for a long time.
Ian Heinisch is a professional middleweight UFC fighter and crypto investor. But years ago, he was an international criminal who spent a decade on the run. Ian grew up in a middle-class family in Denver, Colorado. But by the time he was 18, he was importing MDMA from Canada and running one of the largest distribution rings in the Denver area. When the feds came after him, instead of facing the charges, he made a run for it. For the next 8 years, he lived as a fugitive in Europe, rubbing shoulders with the sketchiest people you can imagine. He ended up in Tenerife, Spain, where he hooked up with some Colombians who paid him to start flying to Colombia to swallow balloons and mule them back to Europe. He eventually got popped for this and spent the next 3 years in one of the most dangerous prisons in Spain. While he was down, he began training, first as a wrestler and then as a mixed martial artist, where he excelled. After finally getting shipped back to the United States and wrapping up his old Fed case, Ian went on a fighting tear, quickly ascending the amateur ranks and then winning his first 8 fights as a professional, mostly with knockouts. After just his second fight in the UFC, he was ranked number 9 in the world. Ian has one of the craziest life stories of anyone we've interviewed on this show, and should serve as an inspiration for anyone trying to turn their life around. Make sure to follow him on Twitter at Ian Heinisch and check out his YouTube channel, Crypto Kings, where he teaches people how to invest in the booming cryptocurrency market. And for a bonus episode with Ian, you know what time it is. Go over to Patreon, patreon.com/TheConnectShow. I loved this interview, and you will too. It's my great pleasure to give you Ian Heinisch right here on The Connect with Johnny Mitchell.
They took me to a jail. Public defender sits me down. She's like, "You need to go to protective custody. These guys got a SOS on you, stab on sight." So I'm up all night praying, making armor. And I was like, this is so bad in my mind. Like, I was like, I'm about to get it from every angle.
That's when I see the lights behind me start to flash. And I didn't even think, I just hit it. I was driving like my life depended on it. Then I parked the car, hopped out, closed the door, and I started running.
And he pulls out a burner, a shank, it's like 6 inches. And then he passes it to me. And he goes, "Here, that's yours. Don't ever leave the cell block without this." He was the reason I made it out of that place alive.
I had you on here because, like, we have, well, not a similar story to the T, but, you know, it's
Yeah, I listened to your story, man.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Yeah, I listened to quite a few of your stuff.
Oh, wow.
And
I'm
a lot of
honored.
people I know about you. So, like, it's cool to see you blowing up and you're just using, like, the crazy stuff we went through to make a living. Bro.
How
Like,
ironic is that?
Yeah.
I just started talking about the old days.
Yeah.
And
And
here I
people
am.
love it.
So, I mean, you were kind of like me, middle class, upper middle class even,
Yeah.
when you were a kid. You're from Denver.
Yeah.
What did your parents do?
My dad owned a roofing business.
Okay.
So, I mean, blue collar, but, you know, he did pretty good owning his own business, and it was the right time, and
Yeah.
we had a good economy back then. Besides, in 2008, they lost everything.
And that's when your dad started partying, you said.
Yeah, my dad started partying again, and then, like, started going to, like, yoga, and, like, just, like, was, like, partying with us hard, and then left my mom, and then...
What do you say when you say partying? Are we talking Coke, Crystal?
Coke, ecstasy, weed, and then like got prescribed painkillers, Oxy. So like that went down a whole road. But he takes a lot of like acid and stuff, and you go to like raves and like he's like super shredded and like has this like he thinks he's 20.
Right.
Like he can't like accept that he's getting old.
And also goes to yoga amidst all of this drug use.
Oh, dude, goes like 3 or 4 times a day. Like he'll party like 4 a.m. He'll be at like the 8 a.m. yoga. Like he forces himself to go.
Yeah.
That's like what he always told me. Like if you party, you got to pay.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
if you party, you got to train. You got to earn that partying.
Right. Well, you are going to pay for it one way or the other.
Yeah.
You might as well go get exercise.
And sweat
out of
it out. Yeah.
Yeah. You had friends that died of opioids,
Yes. Yeah.
which
Several.
is a very middle American thing.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have that on the West Coast, just past us. I don't know.
That's so crazy.
Maybe we were just a lot more ahead when kind of like the consciousness of knowing like, hey, these farmer reps are sharks.
Yeah.
Like they are pushing, I don't know what it was. I mean, there was a lot of heroin over there though.
And it came from like the East Coast.
Yeah.
It came from like Ohio and like
Florida.
Like those, like Florida, like that whole coast right there. And then kind of made its way over. But that's crazy. It didn't hit.
Well, maybe because we're all the way on the West Coast.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of black tar Mexican heroin going on during this time. So we didn't even get the oxys. We just went straight to the smack.
Straight to it, yeah.
Straight to the stuff that was going to eventually, lead, opioids were going to lead to anyways. Did you ever get into it?
Yeah. Yeah, I was addicted to
oxys?
To oxys deep, bro, for like probably close to 2 years. Like I was taking like 250, 300 milligrams, smoking it, popping it. Like I never injected. And that's how they got the middle to upper class, because it just started out with like a prescription or, hey, take this pill, man, you'll feel good. And then it became harder and harder to get. So then they needed that high. So then they went to the heroin and they start smoking it. Oh, it's not working. Boom. Then they start shooting up. And it's like, like you wouldn't think, like, these are good kids, good families. Like you would never think they would shoot heroin. And it just was a slow process of getting to that point.
You were reckless though. Like you were a good kid, you were from a good family, but you just moved like you had the mind of like a guy that just went to one thing after the other. Like you didn't think things through, it seems like. You were just very impulsive.
Oh, yes, very impulsive. Bro, you nailed that one. I just like when I do things, it's all or nothing. Like I go hard. That's why, I only started training for the UFC for 4 years, and people said I was too old, too many drugs, too far gone. But the way I trained was I trained harder than all my teammates. So like I excelled so much faster. I had the wrestling background, and that's what made me great, but also made me fall really hard, because when we partied, it was like a competition, like who can like do the most. Like come on, like always egging each other on, like. And, when we were taking, like, I'm talking Steve-O status, bro. Like, I'm talking wake up, start drinking a handle of vodka. We pop Xanax, then we sniff Coke to stay up. Then we pop ecstasy in the night. Then we're doing like, Valiums and painkillers and smoking weed. And when I was trafficking ecstasy, we were taking like I was taking so much ecstasy. Like I was to the point where like, your eyes are just, and you're just like, you're like almost like you feel like you're in a dream. Like someone would have a conversation with me, and I'd be like, in a full conversation, I'd be like, so what are you doing tomorrow? Like just like random stuff, like in and out. Like I think ecstasy fried my brain with painkillers the hardest, and I think that contributed to some of like the concussion stuff that I've dealt with.
Because didn't they say it put holes in your brain? That was like what kids would say. Like that's what ecstasy does.
Yeah.
Is there something to that?
I would say more it like heats the brain up. You get really hot, and maybe it does put holes. I mean, I've had a bunch of CAT scans and MRIs. There's no visible holes that they've seen, but you could just tell like ecstasy kind of did some weird stuff with your brain. And who knows though, really. I know pharmaceuticals like hurt. Pharmaceuticals are probably worse than street drugs, like worse than cocaine and ecstasy, like
for sure,
by far.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, nowadays Molly is seen as this like almost therapeutic, healing drug, just like psilocybin mushrooms. So I don't think holes in the brain. That's got to be.
Yeah.
But you were selling ecstasy. So tell us about that, like mid 2000s ecstasy.
Yeah. So we were getting it from Canada, and at that time, man, I had moved to Canada. Like it was paradise up there, and
you went to Vancouver,
yeah. And I was just going there for a chick to just hang out, go to her prom. Like I already was graduated, but she flew me out like randomly. I went up there. I was like, bro, this place is awesome. I'm staying here. I got my resume. I put it in like Craigslist, and it went out to like all these people, and it had like my wrestling accomplishments. Like it was a ridiculous resume. Like I made up stuff on it. Yeah. This guy's like, meet me downtown. And I go up to this like high rise, and it was like The Boiling Room. You ever seen that movie? Or
Boiler Room?
Yeah,
of course.
Like with Ben Affleck, where he does that speech. It was like that speech / like Wolf of Wall Street. This dude had a slot where we were saving the world. So I ended up making $2 to $4 grand a week. and I was a 19-year-old kid, and I was able to drink. So I had money. I was able to go to bars, and then I started doing ecstasy. And the ecstasy back then, especially in Canada, was like you could take one and you don't need more for like 4 hours. And, you know, that's when, after I got deported from there, I started getting it shipped back.
Who was the plug in that era for ecstasy in Canada?
They were Guatemalans, and I believe they were connected with the Mexican cartel.
Okay. So you didn't think this was like European ecstasy? Because I know a lot of X comes from like Amsterdam and that area.
No, dude. They were like, Vancouver at the time was producing so much ecstasy, like, and they were making the best ecstasy, in my opinion, because when I went over to Europe, it was trash. Oh, and really? Mainly in the UK. Like, I was in the UK, bro, and it was like, you could take like 20 of them, and your jaw would just be like typewriter jaw, and you would feel like disgusting.
Right.
And as in here, you would take like one and you would feel like you conquer the world. Like you have energy, you feel so good. And even the come down, you kind of feel good the next day. And then like one day later, you feel a little depressed.
Sure. But it sounds like they might have even been pressing them in Canada.
Yeah, no, they were.
Wow. So maybe they got the precursors from wherever, Mexico or China, but then they're actually pressing them into pills in Canada. I bet that's what I'm sure they were doing that. So the Guatemalans were the dealers.
Yeah, and they were getting, so when I went there with this chick, right down the street with these two Guatemalans, and I just vibed with them, and we were like working out together, and I was better friends with the younger one, and the older one would have all these crazy meetings, and he'd speak Spanish, and they'd always like look at me weird, and like they were obviously like all like linked up to the cartel. He was getting kilos in, he had a ton of money, like super nice apartment. And me and his buddy were like shooting steroids and like partying super hard, doing crazy amounts of coke and getting our hands on these ecstasy. And I was like, these ecstasy is so good. We sent some back to Denver to some guys who kind of run that area. And they were like, whoa, like this is good stuff. So we started. Light bulb went on. Yep. After I got in trouble there, I got sent back. And
hang on, before we get into that, how much is a pill of ecstasy at this time that you're buying it for in Canada?
Over there, it was like $2 to $3. It was
wholesale,
dirt cheap.
Wow. You could sell them for what, 20 in Denver?
Yeah. If I was selling them in bulk, it would be like 8 for a boat. But you know, at the club, 15, 20. At the raves, 15, 20.
Wow. What's a boat?
1,000.
1,000 ecstasy pills.
Yeah, 1,000 pills.
Wow. And is that like for ecstasy dealer, is that like the equivalent of like a kilo for a cocaine dealer? That's whatever the denominations.
Yeah, that's what they say. Like, you know, like the guy, it's like a Bitcoin story too. But so when I was in Colorado, he started shipping me down. So I got back to Colorado. Back there, 2008, market crash, parents get divorced, lose the house, like everything is in like a depression, you know, it was like a rough time. Yep. And I'm like, you know, I came from some money and now I'm like, bro, I'm at ground zero. I just got deported from Canada.
Why'd you get deported?
So I was working at this place, right? Door-to-door sales.
Right.
And saving the world, selling fixed rate contracts for natural gas, like killing it, bro. Nice. Like total salesperson life, like party hard, sell hard, and you get like bonuses, cash. Like it's just this group, like this hoorah, like kumbaya, like sell like hell, like we're screaming every day.
Coffees for closers.
Yeah, having meetings every day. And I knock on this chick's door. She opens the door. Her and 4 of her friends in there, and they're drunk, and they're like, "Oh, he's cute, bring him in." So they like pull me in. So you know, I'm talking to them. I'm like selling them these contracts, getting them all this sign, and then their friend like, "She just broke up with her boyfriend. You should dance with her, like make her feel better." So like I'm drinking like 3 margaritas deep, and I'm like dancing with this chick. I sign them all up, and then like she's like, "Okay, she's too drunk to drive. You have to drive her home." And I'm like, because we're supposed to have a sales meeting. So I was like, all right, wait here. I go to the chick, my boss, and I'm like, here's my contracts. I got to go. And she's like, Ian. And I like just jog off. So I drive this chick to her house. She's 37 years old. I'm 19. Beautiful Italian girl. And we're in her place drinking wine. She sells wine for a living. So she had this like really nice wine. Sitting there drinking some wine. All of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. And she lives on a duplex. So she lives upstairs. She has a sliding glass door as her front door. because like she is the upstairs, the other unit is at the bottom. So boom, 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 boom. She opens the curtain. It's her ex-husband. And he's freaking out.
Yikes.
Like, F you, blah, blah. And then he sees me, bro. His anger goes to like level 10. So he's freaking out. So I like walk over and I'm like, what's up, bro? And he's like, come out here. I'm like, you want me to come out there? He's like, yeah. So I slide the door open just enough for my fist to come through. Boom. Throw a right cross through there. Pop him in the nose. He falls down. I jump on him. I'm choking him, giving him some slaps. I'm like, you're going to go home? You're going to do this peacefully? And because his 2 kids are sleeping inside. They have 2 kids together. So I'm not trying to like kill this guy. Grabs my balls, bro, and squeezes and twists. And I just snap, bro. And I'm all like juiced out back then. And I just lift him up and I throw him across, grab him, hold him over the balcony. And he's like this. And I hear the girl, she's like, no. So I like throw him by the stairs and I walk him to the flight of stairs and I throw him. Rolls down the stairs. And I move in with this chick 11 days later.
Jesus Christ, I did not see that coming. God. Oh, what a toxic broad. Holy Ian. So it's suffice to say, you never said no much.
Yeah.
Like you just never said, I think I'll pass. Up to this point, you just that just wasn't in your vocabulary,
with the flow, man.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, it was crazy too, because like she wakes up, takes her kids to school. I spend the night, and I'm like in this chick's house, and I'm like, this chick's crazy, bro. Like she just met me. I'm like in her house, like all her stuff's in there, and she's like taking her kids to school.
Yeah.
But she comes home, she's cool. I ended up leaving the girl I went out there with prom with, obviously.
Yeah.
I moved in with the Guatemalans. This is before all this happened. And then she was like getting crazy, like rolling up over to the Guatemalans' house. And the Guatemalans were moving. So it all worked out. Like 11 days later, I was like, I don't really have a place to live. And she's like, yeah, you can come move in with me. I have an extra room. We'll just tell the kids you're like a roommate.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's good for them.
Yeah, totally. Right? So
you got an uncle.
Yeah.
Uncle Ian.
Yeah, stepdad Ian. No.
He'll be in my bedroom every now and then.
Well, he sneaks in there when they go to bed. But yeah, so
today's episode is sponsored by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. No sharks, no professionals. Just you versus the numbers. This is why I play it, because it's so easy. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the PrizePicks community today. Sign up right now and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You're going to 10x your money just by putting down coffee money, okay? You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. See, this is why I love PrizePicks. They're always throwing out deals and daily picks. For instance, just one Caleb Williams passing yard gets you 1 win on PrizePicks every week in September. That's right, only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. What? Where else are you going to get this? 4 weeks, 4 of them, 4 weeks of free W's. Don't miss this deal on PrizePicks because it's gone at the end of September. For instance, I'm a basketball guy, and PrizePicks got me back into the NBA this past season, and I'm so excited now that it's football time. The app is so easy to use, which is perfect for me. I am a lay person when it comes to sports. I don't have time to follow it like an expert would. So the NFL season has started, and this weekend I'm picking Tyreek Hill for more than 90 receiving yards, Dak Prescott for more than 263 pass yards, Josh Allen for less than 240 passing yards, and CeeDee Lamb for more than 96 receiving yards. You see how easy that is? Just more or less on the already preset player stat projections. Download the app today and use code Mitchell, MITCHELL, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Once again, that's code Mitchell to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. It is unbeatable. There is no one else offering that kind of juice. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, let's get back into it.
I'm living with this chick for like 8 months. Things are great. I buy myself a car. I'm making good money. Like things are going good. And like, you know, we're taking XC, and this is when we started sending it down there. And then probably like 6 to 8 months later, I hear boom, boom, boom on the door again. Like it sounded like when the guy came that night. It's like 6 a.m. in the morning. So I roll up in my underwear. I'm like, all right, round 2. And boom, I open the curtains, slide them open. It's the immigration police. This dude has been like straight up like spying on me, like found out I was working there illegally. I was getting paid under the table. I had no license to work. I had went home for a family trip, came back instead of flying to Seattle and having her pick me up. I flew to Seattle and tried to Greyhound bus across, and they checked my record. I had like DUIs, so like they like denied me. And then I sat in a hotel on the border, and I tried to run across the border, and then they grabbed me and they're like, if you try to cross the border one more time, we're gonna give you 100 days mandatory. So then the chick I originally went out with, her mom picked me up and drove me across.
This is a very Mexican story, by the way. I
dude,
tried to run across the
totally,
border.
bro.
I
Like,
was a drunk. I was getting in fights.
like, bro, I felt like a Mexican, and I was hanging out with them. And when I got caught, you know, they threw me in a holding cell with them. The second time. So they let me go free on post-set, but I'm like, I'm going back. I have this job. I have this girl, like my life is there now. Like I gotta get back there. And sometimes when you go with like legit people, like this chick's mom, you know, they're just like, all right, how long? I'm like, I'm gonna be here 1 week. Cool. Boom. And they don't like scan your stuff. So they let me go.
Oh, right.
So when he called immigration on me, they saw that I already tried to sneak across twice illegally. And now I'm here illegally and I'm working illegally. So boom, handcuffs, walk me down the stairs. I go to jail. It's a Thursday night. Friday was a holiday, so I couldn't go to court. So I sat in holding cell Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Could not go to court till Monday. Bro, I'm freaking out. At this point, I have not really been to jail that much. I did a 10-day stint in Colorado, but I'm coming off Xanax. I'm coming off all these drugs, bro. I'm freaking out in the cells. Like, I scream at them. You know, you're in those little holding cells. They take me to the hospital. They give me my Xanax prescription. So I'm popping that. And this chick comes to court on Monday, $5,000 cash, bails me out, because in Canada, there's no bails bondsman. So she bails me out. We're driving home. I'm like, take me to the bar, tequila shots, popping Xanax, take me home. I go to the house. I look for my ecstasy, and there was no ecstasy. I said, where is it? And she's like, she heard that I slept with my ex when I was living together, because they like started talking when I was locked up. And she heard that I was sleeping with her at the same time. So she told me this story, and she goes, well, I took the ecstasy when you were gone with my husband's best friend, and we all weekend.
Oh no.
So dude, I'm like totally like, so
now you're torn.
Yeah.
She her friend behind your back, but she also bailed you out. So what do we do?
So
this makes my youth look responsible.
Yeah, so I obviously I'm mad. Smashed up the house a little bit. Like,
what's your charge when they arrested you and brought you to court?
Illegally working and illegally snuck across the border.
So you don't just get deported, like you do in America.
I was getting deported no matter what.
Okay,
but she was able to bail me out.
Okay, interesting.
And I could fight it. Like I could get lawyers and stuff.
Oh, interesting.
So you know, I'm coming home sad. Like I'm like, bro, my whole life, like now I'm going to get deported for sure. I got to get lawyers, this and that. And then she drops this bomb on me. So like I trash her place. Like I don't even remember. Like I pass out in a drunken, like, you know, like Xanaxed out slumber. And next thing I know, she's full mount, like just teeing off on me, because apparently her kids heard me like screaming and breaking stuff. So they were scared in the morning when she took me to school. She came home furious. Jumps on me. She's like, get out of my house. So like, all I know, I was so like, if you've been there, bro, like you're not even on the planet, like especially with those Xanax. And all I felt, like all I know, I just wanted whatever was happening to stop. And like, so like I woke up on her, like holding her down by her neck. And I was like, whoa, like when I finally could open my eyes, and she's like, you're crazy. So I grab a bottle of her best wine, and I take off towards the beach. She calls the police, bro. The police, like, I'm running like this, and the police are here. They cut in front of me. I roll over the hood. break the bottle, and apparently I went at them.
Oh my God,
bro! Like if it was America, pop, pop, pop.
Oh,
but
definitely.
luckily it was Canada. These guys throw me to the ground. They put me in the back of like the paddy wagon, just kicking my ribs like, you stupid American.
Yeah.
Gave me a black eye, swollen. I mean, they beat me up for a while. They abused me, like, which I can't even blame them. Like,
I mean, you came at them with a broken wine bottle.
Yeah,
that's pretty serious.
It was pretty serious. So I made front page of the Vancouver Sun. They sat me down and they interviewed me, and they're like, "How did you get here, bro?" I'm still so Xanax out. I gave them the craziest story, like. And they like ate it up. Like I was like, I'm a cage fighter, and I met her online because I didn't want to like put my old job on blast because they were paying me under the table. And I liked my boss, so I was like, I'm a cage. They're like, how do you make money? I was like, I'm a cage fighter. I'm a prize fighter. They're like, how'd you meet her? I met her online, and I was like, they have me in like quotes. I was like, I'm gonna get that POS who ratted me out, and I'm going to put him in the ocean where no one can find him. And like word for verbatim, like you can find the article.
Oh yeah, we're gonna put that up as B-roll for sure.
Yeah, so front page of the Vancouver Sun, they found some picture of me like 14 years old wrestling and put that as my picture.
Wow.
And which was like I look like a little kid, and they're like 37 or 19-year-old fugitive cage fighter beats up 37-year-old girlfriend and sneaks across the border. So that was the front page.
Wow.
It's like, I don't know what your main newspaper is, but it's their main newspaper. And I sat in jail for like 7 months, and then they came and got me and deported me. And that's when I ended up back in Colorado. So I'm back there. I'm broke. Yeah. I'm like, what am I going to do now? And that's when I call the Guatemalans. And I say, hey, man, let's see what we can do. I link up with the guy that I was sending them to because he could get rid of them really quick.
Right. And you already knew how to mail them, right?
Yeah, so we tried a few ways. We would do like kind of like a birthday present and throw some candy in there, and he would take like Skittles and like open the bag and like glue them shut. But then obviously you can't do that many there. We just sent a couple hundred, just testing the waters.
Right.
Then we would lay down. We'd send about 2,000 pills a box. You get like one of those FedEx packages with artwork. You lay the X down flat, vacuum seal it, then you put carbon paper over it, and you line the box with it. So the whole box is lined with pills. And then you put some artwork inside. So we started sending shipments of 2,000 pills a week.
And are you sending this overnight, FedEx overnight, or what is the way to internationally send FedEx?
If I remember, it was like 3 days, I think it would take.
And the carbon paper is to block the x-rays, the scanners, right?
Yep.
Which comes into play a little later.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So they're sending me 2,000 pills a week. You know, we're hitting the raves. You know, we're selling out fast. I go with my buddies. I would give my buddies 100 pills each. I'd have 5 friends with me. I'd walk up to people, hey, you want some pills? They'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, that guy over there. Boom, they would go do the deal. Hey, you want some pills? And sometimes I would ask an undercover cop, hey, you want some pills? Boom, he'd handcuff me, throw me on the wall, search me. I got nothing on it. I'm like, dude, I'm messed up. So I would never carry, but I would do all the talking, and I would recruit the people, and my buddies would hold.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the night, you know, we'd have a mountain of cash.
Wow.
And
how many pills could you sell at a rave in one night?
At a rave, we could probably sell like anywhere from like probably like 400 to 600. Holy. You know, depending on the rave, but it's like 20 a pop. So, you know, I mean,
what's the math on that? $12,000.
Yeah, 12 G's.
Just going hand to hand. That's retail.
Yeah, and that's retail. So,
and what are you getting? What is your price from the Guatemalans?
I think it was like $3 to $4 at the time.
Right.
So I think they get it for 2. I think they give it to me for like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
He kept finding new connects, and like sometimes the pills would come back, dude, we don't like those, and we're like, go back to the old guy because it'd be cheaper. I think he was getting them like $1.50, $2. They were so cheap and they were so good.
Wow. So you were paying $8 grand for 2,000 pills, and what, quadrupling your money?
Yeah. Yeah. So I would get, and then so.
It's good business.
Yeah. I mean, listen, that when the XC first came, I think it was like, they put like MDMA with a little caffeine, and like that was the best mix. Then they started putting like opioid and like I
speed in it.
And speed. And I didn't like that at all. I don't like the, like I like the kind where you just chill, you're on the zone. But so then I was like, all right, I'm done going to the raves and stuff. And then I started giving to a supplier. So I would give him a boat a week. He would sell it to everyone. So I was like, you do the running around. So I ended up being like a wholesaler. Western Union started freezing our money. We were sending it so often, boom.
Right.
And I'd have this girl send it, this girl, pay her $50, pay her. And I was like, bro, I don't know what to do. He's like, hey, buy this thing called Bitcoin. It's like a stock. It goes up and down. And he's like, you know, you can just send it to me and it's totally anonymous and it's great. I looked at Bitcoin. It was 17 cents a Bitcoin.
I hope you bought some and held it.
Dude, I didn't buy any. I said, I don't understand this.
Right.
I said, I don't understand this.
In 2010, nobody did.
I was like, this is weird. And, you know, I wasn't a computer guy. So I was like, I don't understand it. Imagine if I just I bought $100 and got locked up.
You'd be
come out a billion, like a multi-millionaire. Yeah. But anyway, so
you would send him Bitcoin. That's how you would pay for it.
I could have, yeah. But I never bought it.
Oh, you never did?
No,
you never listened to him?
No, I didn't listen. I said, I'm not going to do that. I just don't know how. And he's like, all right, I'll send a guy down with 100 boats and you just give him cash. So he posted up downtown and he's like, I'll do this every couple weeks. I'll start sending people down.
Wow. So 100 boats is 100,000 pills?
Yeah.
Wow. And how many times did they do that?
Well, the first time is when we got busted. So he sent the guy down. So this is going on for probably like 6 to 8 months. We really started just picking up steam with this.
Okay. You were killing it. How much cash did you had you accumulated, you think?
Probably like anywhere from like 40 to 70 grand. But like the problem was with me, I was not a good drug dealer. I never was, man. It was always chasing the high. I got way too high on my own supply. Like as fast as I was making it, bro, I was spending it. Like if I was a smart, like I could have been accumulating, you know, hundreds of thousands, if not millions. Like, but like, bro, I was spending and like just buying everything I wanted. Right. And you know, it comes fast, it goes fast type deal. So
if only we could have fused my brain and your brawn back then, dude.
Dude, I know. I watched your stuff, and you were like more business mindset.
I saved everything I made.
Yeah. So I went. Where were we at in the store? Okay, so these guys sent down the guy. He was giving me pills, and after that, we shortly got set up.
Okay, so the Guatemalans sent one of their workers, their mules, across the border down to Denver with 100,000 pills. Yeah. It's a lot that's like mandatory federal time. It's a shitload of pills.
Yeah, it's a shitload.
How did it go down though? How did you get set up from that?
So after the Guatemalan came down or sent the guy down with the pills, you know, things were going good. We were just partying. Money was flowing in. We were hanging out with chicks. My buddy was hanging out with this chick for a while. And all of a sudden she kept like asking me, she's like, hey, can you get 1,000 pills? And like, we never even told her we sold or anything, but she wasn't dumb. And I was like, no, like, I don't know what you're talking about. And like, this went on for like 3 times. Finally, she's like, my buddy has, I don't know what he said, like 10K ready, like to buy 1,000 pills, which to wholesale buy that, like that's a quick flip. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting it for 4. Yeah. That's a quick 6 G's, you know? So I was like, all right, I finally agreed. I was like, you drive though.
Hang on, and where are the pills? Like, are you keeping 100,000 pills in like a safe house? Like, what's the distribution here?
Yeah, so he would give me, he would hold the pills.
Right.
He'd give me like 5 boats at a time.
Right.
And I would keep them at my grandma's condo, which she didn't live there. She lived in New York. My dad would live there. Yeah. And so we'd keep it there. We had an apartment. We kind of keep it there. Okay. I would never sell from there. I'd go meet people and stuff like that. So
I see. Oh, so okay. So the guy who came down from Canada was basically just going to post up in Denver until all the pills were sold.
Correct. So he'd give me like 5,000 a week.
How many had you run through at this time? By the time the setup happens,
I was probably through from just that guy or in total.
That guy. Not
even that much. We were probably on probably like 20,000 pills. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, so what happens is this chick, she finally asked, she's like, all right, I was like, okay, if you drive, because in my mind, I'm like, if she gets pulled over, that's on her. So I sat behind her and I put the pills at the feet and I pushed it under her seat because I was like, she wants to take the risk. She can do it. I don't know what's in it for her, but, you know, it must be her friend or something, and she's going to get some. So we show up to Walmart parking lot. This sketchy looking Mexican cat gets in the car. He's kind of like shaky and looking through his money. And I can already tell there's not enough money. And I'm like, something's up. And I'm like, pull the car out, go through the McDonald's drive-through. She backs the car up. She starts to go forward. This SUV comes head on. Boom, smashes her. Smashes in the back. This cop like jumped out like on the hood, pointing pistol at her head. And throw me on the ground, pistol to my temple. And I'm like looking at the Walmart sign, and I was just like, man, I'm going to jail for a long time.
How many pills were on you?
We had 1,000 pills, but then they went back to my grandma's. They found another 25,000 pills, or sorry, 2,500 pills. And then they stole like 30, 40 grand cash, weed, like all these paraphernalia things, steroids. Like they took everything. It was like the movies, bro. Like when we showed up back there, they had cut the bed open, pillows, like ripped all the pictures off the wall. Like it was like disgrace. So I got locked up, and then I posted bail, and
you're in federal court, right?
Well, I posted bail. Yeah, I mean, I sat in jail, posted bail, and I knew I was looking at like 4 to 8 or something like that. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to jail. I'm 19 years old. So I went to the post office.
How did you know you were facing 4 to 8? Did you have a lawyer? Did you?
I didn't know then. I just figured it was a lot. I know now.
In hindsight, how much do you think you realistically would have gotten? You had no real record. You had hooliganism, but you had no like real criminal record. You're like a nice white kid, let's face it, that counts for something still. And yeah, it's okay, 3,500 pills. It's not, I don't even think that's a mandatory. I don't even think that's mandatory. I think it's like over 10,000 or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's a felony.
It's a felony, but I don't think there's like a statute on it.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would have maybe done 6 to 8 months and then got like 4 years of probation.
Right.
First time offense.
Right.
You know, I did face those charges later.
Right.
And by the grace of God, we'll talk about that a little later.
Yeah.
But
this is a big decision. So you choose to, because when I got popped the first time myself, my father, who's a lawyer, was the one who was like, we should get you to Canada. So I had the same kind of decision to face, but I was like, no, I'd rather do time than go to Canada, Dad.
Really?
Yeah. This is the first time I got popped, though. Not the charge that sent me to prison. But, okay, so you decide to take off.
Yeah, so my buddy was going to come with me that got caught. He was like my partner in crime. And, you know, he acted, he had done so many pills, he acted like he was, and they actually came up to me, they're like, hey, is your brother like, you know, I was like, yeah. So, like, good for him because he didn't talk, and I just didn't talk either. Posted bail. We got out, and I was like, dude, no way am I going to jail right now. Like, I am in my prime. Like, I am done dealing with the court system. I had been on probation, like, half my life, it felt like. So I was like, no way. Went to the post office, issued me a passport while I was on felony bail. And that's it, man. I told my dad, I was like, I'm out. And my parents were kind of supportive. Like, my dad was. My mom was worried, but they were like, yeah. And I was like, I've always wanted to travel Europe. I'm just going to go.
Wow.
So I hopped on a Greyhound. I went to Indiana. I said goodbye to my family. Told them I was just going to travel to Europe. Hopped on a train from Chicago to New York and said goodbye to my family there. They knew that I was going on the run. They're like, turn yourself in. Don't do this. And I'm like, no.
Tell your grandma you're going to need to get some cleaners over to your apartment in Denver.
Thank God she never went back there. Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. But hopped on a plane, JFK to Amsterdam, with about $2,000 to $3,000 in my pocket. Yeah. They had torn the entire apartment apart, and the only thing they didn't find was I had like $2 to $3 grand in a slipper that I owed someone. And like it was like thrown across the room, but they didn't look inside it.
Yeah.
So I was like, boom, I bought a ticket.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you got a couple of dollars in your pocket and just the wind at your back and the law at your back.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of exciting, actually. It makes me nostalgic for youth. So you first place you fly is to Belgium or Amsterdam?
Amsterdam.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you're like washing dishes or being a cook somewhere in some Irish bar?
So I show up to Amsterdam. I go to jail my first night.
Dude, I'd throw the book at you if I was a judge. If you came into my court, Ian.
I show up, man. I'm like, all right. Like in my mind, I'm like, I'm on vacation. Like, this is great. Let's go tear up the town. So I get off the plane and I'm like, all right, what can you do that you can't do in the States? So I'm like, I go to the store, I buy absinthe. So I start taking some shots of that. The super hot Russian chick, she's like, you want to do a Russian tour in her accent? She's like, I'll drink with you after. And I'm like, sure, whatever. At the end, she's like, I don't drink, but you can have my shots.
Wow.
So I'm drinking. Then I hit the coffee shop and I'm smoking. And now I'm like starting to get cross-eyed, you know? And these guys like, yeah, we're going to the club together, these Canadians. And they're like, meet us there. And they told me the address. For some reason, this address stuck in my mind. Next thing you know, I wake up in a holding cell. And I like wake up and I'm like, dude, what? Like, what happened? So I like run to the window. I'm like, cops, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm a dumb American. Please let me out. I'll never do this again. And they're like, are you sober? You good? I probably like fell asleep on the street. Like, I don't know what happened, to be honest. Like, it blacked out. And the cops said, all right, we'll let you go. Where's your hotel? And the only address I could remember was that club. So they drive me to the club at 2 a.m., park right in front of the club. I get out, walk right in the club, meet the Canadians. And I was like, I love Europe. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But I was staying at hostels. You know, I ran out of money super quick.
Yeah.
You know, ended up like it, and Amsterdam's ghetto too. Like, it was pretty rough. Like, I had some dude chasing me down.
Yeah.
He's like, you stole stuff from me, blah, blah, blah. And that was the night before when I blacked out. Like, he was like chasing me, like trying to get me. I was like running down alleys and stuff. So I was like, all right, I got to get out of here. I called my cousin. He had a friend in Belgium who worked there and had a job and all that. So I was like, all right, I took the bus, went to Belgium. I basically was running out of money. Rolled up with my handy dandy resume and went to the Irish pub. And the guy's like looking at me. He's like, he's laughing. He's like, all right, yeah, you can clean dishes. He's like, hey, where's your like working visa? I was like, oh, it's coming in the mail. Don't worry. You know those things. The mail here takes a while. So he's like, all right, cool. Just let me know. So next thing you know, I'm up there washing dishes, drinking all like the wine. And you know, I had a decent life for like 5 to 6 months. But, you know, I was still fully addicted, bro. Like, I was drinking hard. And, you know, it was always like feeding this addiction. And after like 8 months, this crazy English guy starts the job and he's in the bar. And this dude has like no family. He's actually on what was it? It's called it was on Bravo. What's the show called? Where they live on the boat. Anyways, he got on some reality television show now, and we met up later, but he's a crazy kid, and he showed up, and one night we were closing down the bar. The boss left just me and him in the bar. We're like about to shut the doors. Boom. A bachelorette party comes in. These English girls. You call it like a hen party or something?
Hen night.
Yeah. Like, I was trying to think of the name. It's like a weird. Yeah. So they come in. Next thing you know, we're drinking behind the bar. We're just grabbing bottles, like hooking up with them on the pool table.
Sure.
And next thing you know, boss shows up the next morning, calls us in, prints out the paper of my Vancouver Sun. He's like, "You're fired. I watched the cameras. You," and like freaking out. And we're like grab him by the arm. We're like, "Pay us and we'll leave. You'll never see us again." And he's like, "No, I'm not paying you." Blah 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 blah. And we both grabbed him by the arm. We walked him to the cash register. Like, "Pay us now, and we'll leave." So he opens the cash register, gives us our like weekly salary or whatever.
It gives us your whole €100.
Yeah, give us our 200 euros, whatever it was. And then we hopped on a ferry and went to England.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're just living like a vagabond. You're living like a
gypsy.
Yeah, you're living like a gypsy. Right. You're living like a...
And this guy basically was that I was with.
Yeah. Dude, there's so many sketchy people in Europe. So many sketchy people. And it's so... all the countries are so close that there's so much like crossover. And yeah, dude, this is wild. So what'd you do when you got to England?
So he's like, "All right, mate, come with us." He's like, "Come with me. I can get us a job." So we go on the ferry, get over to England. His idea of getting us a job was us painting this apartment in some like little inbred town up north with no electricity, no hot water, no furniture. We were just in the shell of an apartment. We're painting it in the day and we're sleeping there at night. I'm like, "Bro, this is terrible. I'm not like, we got to figure something out. We can't do this. It's cold. It's rainy, like it was freezing.
Yeah, chicks are fat.
Pigs in skirts.
That's right.
It was wild, bro. But we ended up going to this place called Sheffield. It's like a big college town. Walked down the street. We're like, hey, we went up to the club. We're like, hey, do you need a PR? Which is like, we go around and we're like, hey, come in this club. We'll give you a free shot.
Right.
And they're like, well, we're full tonight. We're like, let us show you what we can do. And we just like hit the street, bro, drunk. Like we got so many girls and people to come in that club. They're like, all right, we'll start paying you guys. You guys are great. So we're working there for a little while. I end up moving in student housing over there. And like probably like 3 or 4 months into this kid tries to rob the safe at the club. And so they freak out. They come at me and I'm like, I barely know this guy.
Oh, your friend, your buddy.
Yeah, my buddy who I came with.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I barely know this guy. And they're like, oh, okay. Like, you're cool. You can stay here. So I'm staying there. So I call the Guatemalan Connect. I'm like, all right, let's try to get things going again.
So you're thinking shipping ecstasy from Canada to London, which is a great play. They're all junkies over there.
They are, dude. But, dude, they were like, this is what I'm saying. Like, their pills were terrible. Like, disgusting.
Right.
And I would go to these houses and there'd be like a bunch of white powder on the thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is legit. Like, what do you, and it was like plant fertilizer. Like, wow. Like, like, I don't even, was it ketamine? No, I don't even think it was ketamine. It was like,
no, that would have been too expensive.
or some weird stuff. Like, and they're like sniffing it and like,
wow.
I'm like, this is disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, you guys, like, what are you doing? And they're like doing the whippets, like inhaling that. I'm like, bro, this is like the lowest of the low drugs. So like, we tried. We went to this, and these guys take like 20 ecstasy pills a night, and so my pills are more expensive. You know, they were like,
hang on. So first of all, your connect in Canada. When you got popped, what happened to his dude that was in Denver? Did he get away? Did anybody tell
he
on
got
him?
away.
Okay.
He got away, and I passed the business on to this one of my guys that I was wholesaling to.
Okay.
And it like grew into this crazy like he was one of the main exports of ecstasy from 2009 to like 2013. And then he got popped. They tried to hit him with Rico.
And that was all coming from your Guatemalan plug still in Canada the whole time?
The whole time, dude.
Wow.
Like it grew into this crazy thing. And he ended up doing like 15 years in a federal prison. He just got out. Like
The guy you gave the business to?
Yeah, he just got out, man. And
maybe it's a blessing that you got popped early. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In certain ways. Did you ever figure out who set you up?
It was this chick. So I think she got in trouble in California. And she like snitched out there, but I think it was like big trouble, and they used her as like an informant.
Yeah, like long term.
But she ended up like going to like a psych ward. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, it was a weird situation. Like, I never got full like resolve of like what happened there, but it was just like, it was weird, and it was probably from God, like to get me out of there. Because another thing was, that's when my friends started dying of this epidemic of oxy, and like I never was in it when it was like real hot, and I know if I was probably around that could have been me dying.
Sure.
So
probably. So, but the point is, you're still good with your Guatemalan connect in Canada.
Yeah, we're still good.
So, and you didn't rat. So he's still with you. He's still taking your calls.
He sent me some cash.
Okay.
He was very happy that I just got out of there.
Nice.
Because, and then my partner, because he didn't speak, if I didn't get caught for 3 years, they dropped the case on him.
Okay.
Because I was the main player.
Right.
And they knew that.
Right.
And he was just like, some I was with like.
Is your goal, as you're over in Europe being a gypsy, is your goal to just wait it out until the statute of limitations is up?
Yeah, so that was always like what I thought my goal was, to, you know, leave the country. At first I heard it was the 5-year was the statute of limitations. Then someone told me it was 7 years. And then someone told me it was not at all. So I didn't really know, but I was like, maybe if I waited out 5 years, I can come back and just be like normal. I thought about joining the French Foreign Legion because, you know, if you know about that, like
I don't.
Murderers join it, like people who are like, so the French has a foreign legion, and they train foreigners, and you have to learn French. And once you've done 5 years in it, they give you a new name and a new passport. Wow. They completely change your identity. So back in the day, people would murder, like have crazy like murderers come there.
Yeah.
And they would change their identity and the French and they're like mercenaries. So people pay them. They're like, hey, go take care of these people. Or go help the U.S. Army, and they're allies of the French.
Wow. Fascinating.
Yeah.
So you're thinking about doing that.
So I was thinking about doing that.
So you're in England. Do you get pills over from Canada?
Yeah. So I started getting shipments over.
Okay. Tell us how that works. How do you send overseas? How do you send a boat of ecstasy?
The same way you send it domestically.
Still FedEx.
FedEx.
Okay.
Or maybe it was UPS.
Okay.
It was UPS, but the same type of way in the box.
Yeah.
Artwork.
Sure.
Send some artwork. I think we tried the first time with like, it was like a care package of stuffed bear, a card, and like 6 things of candy. And he sent me like 150. And then I made some money, sent it over to him. Hey, send me a boat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I like worked my way up. I think he was like, hey, I'll send you this, make some money, and then I'll be able to buy the product and send it to you.
Wow. Okay. So here you are. How are you selling it in the clubs in Sheffield?
Oh yeah, dude. So I'm in the clubs. Like it's a total college party town. Like, and it was just terrible, bro. Like I gave this dude 4 pills. Like I sold him 4 pills, and like they would get theirs for like $4 a piece, but they'd have to take like 20. I was charging €8 because I'm like, you only need 1 of these. Like these are high quality. Like you could take one. And this, like, they call them chavs. Like they're kind of like white trash of there. This dude takes it. I mean, he's a skinhead with scars on his head. Looks like bottles been broken on his head. I sell him 4 pills, throws it in his mouth, crunches it up, downs a beer. I'm like, dude, I wouldn't do that, bro. Comes back up to me like in 5 minutes. You sold me fake you yank. Like freaking out on me, like in my face, bro. And I'm like, bro, step away from me, bro. Like we're gonna have issues. And then he's like, sell me another 4. So it's like, here's 2 more free. Throws it in his mouth, chews it up. And so I'm like hiding, bro. And this dude's like looking for problems, bro. Next thing you know, I see him on the couch.
Oh my God.
Like he can't even open his eyes.
Yeah.
I walk up, slap him across the face. I was like, don't ever say I sold you fake stuff. I was like, you're an idiot. I was like, you're gonna be so messed up now. And like he was just like, oh mate, just like I mean like gone, bro. Like
okay.
So it was just bad, bro.
So what do you mean it was bad?
Were getting mad, like we were stepping on people's toes.
Right.
Everyone was hearing about this amazing X and they were like seeking me out, and then like the gangs that were running the town heard about it, and then like it was just a mess, bro. Like I was just like, dude, this is not worth it. And I hate living in England. It's dark all the time. Yeah. It's like cold. Like I wasn't making that much money. Like I'm in this college town. Like it just wasn't for me. So
the market wasn't worth it either. It sounds like if you could only sell it for €8 a piece and you're getting it for 4, I don't know. It's a lot of, I don't know. It's probably better than whatever the you were doing, but
yeah, it wasn't worth it, bro.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, I'm out. Like, so I sold my last bit, like bulk sale it to the Pakistanis that were like giving me issues. I was like, here, then take it. I'm out. Like, and I hopped a plane, but went back to Belgium for a minute, and like I had a few friends there, so I was like spent Christmas and New Year's there. Boom, hopped a flight to Tenerife, the Canary Islands, and I've been hearing about this place.
And that's Spain. That's an island off the coast of Spain, Morocco.
Yeah, it's an island off there. It's like the Cancun of Europe.
Okay.
So they always mess. It's geography-wise, it's Africa.
All right.
It's owned by the Spanish, but it's English ran.
Interesting. Why English ran? What does that mean?
The south of it is all English bars. It's like all like it's a big tourist. I mean, the north of it of Tenerife is like the locals, but the south completely English ran.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it's kind of like a Mallorca or Ibiza.
It's like a year-round Ibiza.
Right.
Great weather, like California weather.
Right. So that attracts a lot of people from Northern Europe that are escaping that wretched weather.
Yeah, year-round parties. In the winter, even more. You get Russians, Scandinavians, beautiful girls, beautiful people, like
tons of money,
tons. I mean, I would say like Ibiza is like upper class, very expensive. This is like more of like Cancun status,
right? But
like,
but there's a drug market there.
There's a
huge market for drugs.
Huge drug market year round.
Yep.
So I go down there, I walk down the beach. I'm like, man, this is paradise. I was like, this is amazing. Like beautiful girls, like beautiful beaches. I walk down the beach, drink like 12 beers. I roll up to where all the clubs are. I'm like, I'm like, man, this is awesome. I go up to one of the club owners, like, you guys hiring? He's like, yeah, you can work tonight.
Wow.
I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah. So now I'm working at this club where they pay me 8 drinks when I work. They give me 8 drinks when I work, 4 drinks when I get off. And I work from like 8 p.m. till 4 a.m. And I get €1 per person I bring in. So I'm getting paid like nothing, bro.
What is this?
So they're paying me in drinks, bro. Like I'm like 3 months deep of this.
They saw you coming.
Yeah, dude. I don't even. Well, they do it for everyone. You don't even see the day. I mean, the way you make money is you peddle drugs while you're doing it.
Right.
I don't even like see the day anymore. Like I sleep into like 2, eat food, and then I'm like back at the club. Like it was like a terrible lifestyle. 4 months is full blown alcoholic, bro. I can't even afford €30 to sleep in a room with 8 people, cockroach infested. Like I'm like at the low of my life, rock bottom, full-time alcoholic drug addict. Like if I'm shaking in the morning, I drink right when I wake up till I go to sleep. Like there's always, it has to be a drink coming in my system.
Who are the people then doing the hand-to-hand drug sales? Like, was it just like tourists like you, like kind of lost like European guys or American guys? Or was it actually organized?
No, it was organized. It would be like the Canarians would do it. The Africans would sell like more like lower level stuff, little stuff.
Yeah.
They buy it. The looky, man. They'd always be like trying to sell you sunglasses or watches. Hey, looky. Yeah.
Right.
And, but like in the club scene, it was a little bit of a free for all, but they definitely had like some big players down there. It wasn't like England though. Like it was a way more open market,
right?
Because there's so many tourists,
right? It's
not local. It's like you can meet a tourist, sell him something, and he's gone.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna like the word's not gonna get out that you're like pushing.
You're not gonna get told on because they just did the drugs
and
went
had a
back
good
home.
time, had a good weekend. You sold it to them every day of their trip, and then they're gone.
Right. And is it mostly coke or is it
coke, ecstasy, everything? Well, I shouldn't say everything because now there's all these weird drugs, but coke and ecstasy.
Right.
No one was doing meth or nothing like that. But
okay.
So I get down there. I'm rock bottom, bro. Like I'm sleeping on the beach some nights. Like I literally don't have a place to go. Like couch surfing. Like, and I'm at this point where I'm like, dude, I'm at a low point in my life. Like, and this American guy comes up to me. And his name is. He's from Colombia, but he's born in Miami. We kind of mingled a little bit and kind of got cool. And he came up, he's like, hey, gringo, like, we don't want to see you living like this. Come live with us. So he invites me to come stay with him and his dad. So I start working out every day, eating good food, finally getting sober, clearing my head up a little bit. And like 3 or 4 months, feeling good, man. Get like a job at a bar or like a restaurant where I'm, doing the same stuff, but in the day, making better money, getting a good meal out of it. And
what are his parents? Do you ask what his dad does?
Well, he got to that, so he sat me down one day. He said, hey, gringo, you want to make some real money? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, we'll go to Colombia. He's like, he pulled out a bowl of grapes, and he's like, see if you can swallow these. And it took me a few times, and he was like, don't swallow, just inhale it. And he's like, perfect. He's like, I'll book a trip. And that's when we started taking trips. Venezuela, Aruba, Colombia.
Okay. So you're going there and you're picking up coke and swallowing it.
Yeah.
You're muling it.
Basically, yeah.
Wow. That's so crazy. That's so crazy. So his dad is the one with the plugs, obviously.
Yeah, his dad's been doing this. So it's like, his dad, I think, did 12 years in the States. He was in Miami during the big boom.
Right.
So he was heavily involved in that. Then he left the States.
Got deported or something?
Got deported. Went back to Colombia. Then he came to Tenerife, the Canary Islands.
Right.
And so he has been doing this. So he's moving some pretty decent weight.
So what was the process? You go pick up, swallow in the source country, South America, bring it back, it out, and then his dad is the one that distributes it?
Yeah, so the first time it was like a pure mule run.
Okay,
and it was sketchy,
walk us through
bro.
this.
It was sketchy because he sent me and his son. And in my mind, he sent us with his girlfriend's family down in Cali, Colombia, which back then, bro, like there was no tourists. It wasn't booming. Like this is a completely like ghetto place,
Cali's
bro. Like,
still ghetto.
It's still ghetto. Cali's probably way more ghetto than Medellin or Cartagena. Like, that's more touristy. We went to Cali and we were staying in like dirt roads, piles of trash. You'd have like crackheads in them, like eating trash and like looking at you, and you're like, but then there would be like a beautiful girl in high heels. Like, and like it was just like such a weird contrast. And so we were there, and like I was the only white boy, and it was always a process. We go there for a week, we party, then we like go to the gym and like get our bodies ready for it, and then we wake up 8 hours before the flight, before we have to be at the airport, not the flight, and we start swallowing 10, walk around.
What are you walking around for? What is that?
You just want it to move.
Yeah.
You want it to start getting down.
To be distributed in your intestine.
Yeah. And it was really sketchy because they took us up to the mountains where they got the coke. They paid $1,000 for a kilo.
Wow. That's $1 a gram.
It's $1 a gram.
Holy. Does his son have the money, or who's your handler when you get there? Who's the guy that's like, leading you around, taking care of you?
It was his girlfriend's aunt's sons.
Right. Okay.
So, and they still hit me up all the time. Like, come back. Like,
get that esophagus ready.
I'm like, bro, like, I'm good. But like, they were cool. Like, bro, they loved us there. Like, they drove me around to like all their friends. They're like, look, we got a white boy with us.
Right.
Like, they loved it, bro. Like, I was driving down the street one time. I look out the window, pistol at my head. It was the police, bro. They're like, pull over, and they're pointing the gun at me. And they're like, what are you doing with the gringo? And I'm like, oh, he's a friend. He's a cousin of him. And I always say my uncle was his dad. He's mi tío político. So it's like my uncle, like, but not related to me, like a second uncle type deal. So we were at a park one time smoking a joint, military, AKs pointed at us. And I was like, they stole my shoes and they left. They took my shoes, bro. Crazy, like, I was size 13. No one's gonna fit my shoes, bro. It was, so like weird stuff was happening, bro. Like, and
okay, so and his own son, this guy's own son was swallowing.
Yeah. So like that's why I felt better, right? Because I was like, he's not gonna put his own son to the slaughter.
Right.
But it was weird, bro, because they took us up to the jungle. They're like, stay here. I'm in this river, and it's kind of like all these families around. All of a sudden, 15 kids are circling me, just staring at me. And I got this sombrero on, and I'm like they've never seen a white boy ever. And I was like, hey, hijo, ¿dónde está la guerrilla? He's like, ahí. Like the guerrilla is like the traffickers, like the people who make it. And
so do you think that's who the connect was? Because the guerrilla used to be the FARC, who were like left-wing political rebels that were trying to overthrow the government. But they started drug trafficking to finance their operations.
War,
and then now they're full on just drug traffickers. They're not even a guerrilla anymore. So do you think that's who was supplying you guys?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Did you see them
100%.
with the bandanas and the big guns?
No, so they left me a little bit away from the camp, but I did see somebody like he had like a plastic pool, and he had like the coke leaves, and he was like stomping it, and he was like so cracked out. And just like stomping it, like, so I did see that, but I didn't see over there. They don't want to bring me over there, bro. No. Like, I'll get kidnapped.
You don't want to go to the connect. Yeah.
No, you don't want to go. Not a white boy. I was like close enough, and it was this beautiful river. But it looked like the Jungle Book, like white river, like in this crazy looking jungle, all these birds and monkeys around. Like, it was really beautiful. But so then we drive down, and we go back, and I'm like partying with, and like, so I remember the first time, because I'd done a bunch of coke, and these guys like, don't do a line, just do a little bit. And I'm like, you guys don't know me. Like, I've been doing this forever. And like, I put down a line, bro, sniffed this line, and like, me and my boy started wrestling. I put him through a glass table at these guys' house. We went to this party, and I was just like trying to wrestle everyone, and it was like the only white boy, and then like this gringo was like crazy. Like, they like thought I was so crazy, bro. And then like my hands and toes started to curl up. Like, I was so cracked out. I had to get aguardiente and just and I was like, dude, I'll never do a line of this stuff again. Like, that was like,
it's that pure.
It's that pure, bro.
So okay, so yeah, you really got to be careful when you're ingesting a whole kilo of this, when it's that potent.
Oh yeah.
So obviously the Colombians aren't stupid. They don't want their mules to die, so they've got it down. They've got a pretty good system down.
Yeah.
Like people don't die as much as you think doing this, even though it's so reckless. So tell us the process of how you got the balloons ready.
Yeah. So this was the real sketchy part. I wouldn't say these guys were like experienced with gringos. Like, I feel like they knew the connect and they were like, we want to start up on our own. But they had friends who did it. So they like learned from that. So they blender it up, press it into 8-gram balls. And bro, they only put like plastic and then like one glove over it, tied it off, cut it. And like, that's all they did, bro. Like, it was so sketchy. God. I didn't even see how they did it until they gave us it. I never did it like that again. After that, I bought my own supply. I packaged it myself. And, but that first time, bro, you know, and so holy. And it just happened to be, bro, like the night before, American Gangster came on and then Blow came on the night before. Yeah. And I'm like, bro, I don't want to see these guys get caught. But then we woke up at like 2 a.m. Boom, swallowing.
How many? So 8 grams divided by
like 8 to 10 grams. So you try to swallow 100.
Right.
100 plus. So I was like getting close to that mark. And I'm calling the guy and he's like, come on, gringo, swallow 2 more and I'll give you another like 800 euros. He's
and
like,
you're just getting paid a flat rate for this, right?
Yeah, I got like 6,000-7,000 euro.
Right. Which is like, a fortune for you right now.
Which is a fortune for me. Right. And it was just, it's not bad for like a mule. Cause like I kind of became family to them. And, so we swallowed it.
How many mules are there? How many people going back on the planes?
Just me and him.
Okay. So you guys got about 2 keys in your stomachs between the two of you. Okay.
Yeah. A little bit less. He was having issues swallowing it. It was messing up his like stomach. So he didn't do as much. But it was weird, dude. The night before or the day before we went, they drove us back up to the mountain. And I'm like, dude, why are we going up this? And I'm like, I'm going to jump out of the car. And then I asked them, like, no, don't worry. They put us in the river and they like smoked sage and like slapped us with these plants and put like prayed like voodoo stuff. Wow. Like, it was weird, bro.
For your safety. For your safe passage.
Like demonic, like evil, like ritual stuff.
Not
like,
evil. You're still alive.
Yeah. Yeah, but
this is how the people make a living. It's that or starve, you know?
Yeah, I know. But
but it's shoddy work. There's just a one plastic bag and then one cut off piece of glove over each pellet, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they were doing like some Santeria stuff and we made it, but it was still like didn't feel right, you know? And anyway, so yeah, it was a janky job. Swallowed as much as we could, hopped on the plane, drank whiskey the whole way because it just like numbed the pain, made you not think about it.
So you had a stomach ache? Gave you a stomach ache?
Yeah, you feel weird after you eat it all.
Are you not supposed to eat food? Like, you're supposed to have an empty...
That's what they say, bro, but I eat in between. They say don't, but I'm going to eat, bro. Like, I can't do that on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
I don't know why they say that. Because even when we got caught, they wouldn't let us eat. And I'm like, I need to eat to push it through.
Yeah.
Like, but...
okay, so... Damn, that's crazy. Were you aware of any other... Do you think there were other people on the plane that were working for your friend's dad that you just didn't know about?
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy too. Like, they'll sacrifice people. They'll put someone with like 3 kilos in a backpack or like 5-10 kilos, and then they'll throw like a little meal through, and then they'll give a tip off that he has drugs.
Yeah.
Police jump on him, the bag goes through.
Yeah.
So sacrifice people like that. I've seen it. I mean, I was locked up with people that got sacrificed. They're like, I had 200 grams, and the police just came at me. I'm like, yeah, you got sacrificed.
Right. Bro. So that must be super common for Colombians to swallow and go to these tourist places. That's where the markup is. So you get back to the Canary Islands to Tenerife.
Yeah, so we go to Madrid, and you're trying not to like let it go through, and then you fly to the Canary Islands and then drive down to the spot, and then you're just passing it in like a Dubai or whatever they call it.
Did you have to? Like, did you feel like you had to go?
Yeah, like it wanted to come out. There would be these pills we'd take to like keep it in.
Yeah.
And
you're like a pregnant lady that's like got a hold, her water's breaking.
Yeah,
like, hang on, keep it in.
The Colombian told me, he's like, if you got to, just let a couple come out, cut one layer off, it's re-swallow them.
Oh.
He said he's not like, no, dude, that's nasty. I'm
Yeah.
not doing that.
Yeah, and it's $80. Chuck it, dude.
Yeah.
So when it gets there, you get there, you get it out in a duvet. You got 7,000 euro for that. What is okay? So they must step on that coke a ton.
So what you do is he would take it and he would turn 1 kilo into 2.
Yeah.
It's still super pure because you're getting it like 90 something percent.
Yeah.
So you're still in like the 40s, it's close to 50 because it was pure.
Yeah.
And then he'll sell wholesale 70,000 euros.
Holy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like 35,000 a key.
Yeah. So imagine if you broke that down retail, you do that 5 times and be a millionaire.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And there's probably nothing like it on the island.
No.
Was there okay? So after this, you told him, "Hey, I want to work for myself. Like if I go."
He told me, he's like, "Hey, save up a little money, buy your own, and then, take a portion of that, and you could sell to retail and make a killing."
Right.
If you sold it retail, you step on it, and then you sell it 80 euros, 100 euros. Like you could sell almost at a gram.
Yeah.
To like tourist, or like 200 for an 8-ball.
Yeah.
So like you're killing it if you do that. You're gonna make like. So I was making like 30, 40 grand. Like
Per trip.
Like per trip. Like I mean, money was. Yeah, it was coming out to around there, but the problem is we get back from the club after selling, we start doing it.
Right. Of course.
So of course we're just killing our profits.
Yeah.
So the next time I go down to Colombia, it's me and his dad this time.
Wow. Really?
So now we're doing it together.
So his dad swallowed.
Yeah.
Whoa. Well, at least he walked the walk.
He walked the walk. He led from the front, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
So we bought a kilo and we broke it down and we're just like sniffing and just working, bro. And now we put the plastic, put it in the glove, tie it off, flip it, put it in the glove, tie it off, flip it, put it in the glove, tie it off. 4 layers of glove. So this thing's solid, dude.
Yeah.
Now I feel a lot better about it.
It's not bursting.
It's not burst because the last one that came out, I remember from the original one, it was like soft and like it like looked like, bro, and like a cut. It was like this thing could have broke. And I remember getting deathly ill when I got back. I got this cold and like probably stress and plastic and being thrown in the cold river with these rituals. Like it was like, and I got like, I felt like so bad when I got back and I was like, oh, it's breaking.
Right.
So I'm like, God, please.
Terrifying.
Terrifying, bro. So we went back down and we wrapped up the key and everything was good, man. We were swallowing it. And like I said, I brought some back. Now I was hitting the club, selling it. And I think it was like the 3rd or 4th trip. I go down there and I'm in the airport, me and his dad again. We're better team at this. And we're in the airport and we don't hang out in the airport. We don't know each other because it looks sketchy. A 55-year-old Colombian dude with this white gringo, 20-year-old.
Of course.
And this black guy comes up to me. He's like, "Dame su pasaporte" in Spanish. And I'm like, "No comprende, sir." And he's like, "Secret police," shows me the badge. And I was like, "Oh." And he's like, "Oh, you like Colombia, huh? 3 times this year." And I was like, "Yeah, I have a girlfriend here, you
Claro,
know."
la panocha, pendejo.
Yeah.
That's an easy answer.
Yeah. And he's like, "Sit down." So he sits me down. There's a super cute chick right here, like beautiful Colombian chick, and this sketchy looking dude next to me. And I'm like, I look at her, I'm like, "What are we doing here?" And she's like, "The X-rays, like we're going to the X-ray." I was like, oh. So when we wrapped the Coke, he would put this shiny paper on it at the end. Now it was the last layer. And you put like, what's that smooth plastic you have like, that you cover stuff with?
Is it like wax paper?
So the paper, it's like shiny, like it's like wrapping paper, the backside of it, how it has like those diamond formation. It was like that.
Right.
And I'm like, "Why are we doing this?" He's like, we'll pass the X-ray if the X-ray is. And I'm like,
so is that different than what your Guatemalan Ecstasy Connect used?
Yeah.
Okay.
He used graphite paper. It was like this like black paper.
I see.
But these guys use like this shiny paper.
But still the same properties, it sounds like, to stop an X-ray scan.
To get through the X-ray.
Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't know if it was real, if it was just making me feel better. Like I didn't know. But I'm like, obviously we're taking extra time to do this. We got to cut out squares, lay it around it, tape it, and then put the I forget the plastic like wax stuff around it.
So you could swallow it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we go to the X-ray, and it's like a room this big, bro, and it's a huge machine, and he puts me in it, and it's like a little like and we go through, man, and bro, I'm like hands up, and I like walk out. I'm like, dude, I'm like, prison in Colombia would be bad. Like, I'm gonna go to jail for a long time. And I walk out, and he's like, "Tiene buen día, Señor Heinisch." Like, have a good day, sir. Sign, fingerprint, walk out of there. Adrenaline dump hits me, bro. Like, whoa. I was like, wow. I was like, yes, bro.
Stopped it. The paper worked.
Yes, the paper worked. Wow. And I like get on the plane. I see the company's like looking back, and I'm like, yeah, bro, yeah.
Did they ever pull the dad over?
No. The gringo.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Did that make you have to take a? That would have made me have to it all out, being that scared.
No, I was just like, no, like I was just trying. I kept telling myself, don't act like you, like try to act normal. Like that's all I was trying to do. Cause I was like almost visibly like shaking. Like, cause I was like, and now that I look back, I was looking at 8 to 14 years in a Colombian prison. And like, you're for sure going to prison. There's no probation or nothing.
Unless you can buy your way out. Yeah.
Unless you have like serious cash to pay your way out. Yeah.
Wow. So you dodge that, you get home. Now you got a brick. Do you pay for the whole brick? Like, are you using your cash to just buy it straight from your guy's connect, the guerrilla? Or do you have to like pay more because it's his connect?
No, I just pitch in, and he gets it, and he's just like, hey, like, this is yours. So he was giving me basically at price.
Right. Okay.
At cost, but there was a big, like, I had like 70% of it was me taking it for him.
Right. So you got 30%. You got paid in product.
Yeah.
Like,
and then I would take my payments for the product I was taking more in supply.
Right.
So I could sell more.
Right.
Because I would make a lot more. Even though it wasn't a chunk of money up front, it was way more profitable. Because now I'm sitting on
300 grams.
Yeah, 300 grams of Coke, and I turned it into 600. Now I almost got a key, and now I'm just like selling it, and
it must go like that.
Yeah, it goes quick, and I get so mad at myself because we come home, and next thing you know, we do 3 grams, and I'm like, bro, do it in Colombia, don't do it here. It's $1 there, and here that was 600 or probably like 300 euros.
Crazy,
like stop.
At least,
like stop doing that. Yeah. And I would do the pure stuff too. You know, I wasn't doing the stepped on.
Right. How much would you do off of like a package? Say you had 600 grams. 100?
Yeah, probably like 100. Like stupid amount, bro.
Knowing you, we believe it.
Yeah.
We buy it.
Yeah, doing like 100. Yeah.
Yeah. You had some money? You must have had some money, right?
Yeah, I had money. Yeah, I had.
So did you get a pad? Were you balling?
So I bought us, like, I rented out us like a 2-bedroom apartment, which they actually live in to this day.
Wow.
And it was nice. You know, we furnished it up, and you know, not balling, but like we were living good. And I was traveling. I went like a weekend to Amsterdam, spent like 10K there, like, you know, like fancy dinners, going to the club, bottle service, like, and then when you're bottle service, you're just like supplying everyone, and so I mean, it was this crazy lifestyle, and I got very cocky after the X-ray because I'm like, there's nothing they can do.
Right.
The X-ray me, I go through. Yeah. So then I start, because we used to go 3 months. We go 1 month, 3 months off, 1 month, 3 months off. So now, I was going like 1 month off, 1 month back.
Yeah.
So like I was always traveling.
Right. Were you going? Did you try to switch up locations like Venezuela?
Yeah, Venezuela, Aruba. We had a connect in Aruba.
Really?
Yeah.
Aruba.
Oh yeah.
Was that a Colombian as well? Or
no, it was like a local.
Okay, so yeah, it's just north of Venezuela, so it's all coming from Colombia.
Yeah,
but I'm sure it was.
Yeah, it came from Colombia. So instead of $1,000 for a key, it was $4,000.
Oh wow, that kind of sucks.
That does kind of suck, but it's good to mix it up.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and the problem was on the last trip, instead of going from Aruba to Madrid, then to Tenerife, we went from Aruba to Caracas straight to Tenerife, which we never did that before. So I've been pulled in the airport, like little office before, but this time they pulled me in the airport, and they're like the office, like, what do you keep doing here? Where's your money? Pull out a wad of cash. All right, where's your credit cards? Don't have credit cards. Where's your bank account? I don't have bank. They're like, how do you have money? Western Union. My parents are rich. I'm just a rich American. I have a girlfriend here. I have a girlfriend there. I'm just traveling. Oh, really? Call your girlfriend. Boom. She comes in, Italian chick. Yeah, I'm here to pick him up. Okay. Let me go. Walk down to the parking garage. The Colombian was waiting for us there. Boom. They were waiting for us too. Drug task force jumped on us. So
this is in Tenerife. This is in Spain. This is Spanish cops.
Spanish cops. So I'm like, cool, take us to the x-ray. Let's go. I'm like in their face about it. Like, I'm a rich American. How dare you? I'm making a scene, bro.
Yeah.
They don't have an x-ray in the airports there because it's like old school. So they take us to the hospital. Now, the hospital x-rays, they see a little better. So they put me up against the wall. I'm moving. They're like, don't move. And they lay me down so I couldn't move. And boom. They're looking at it. They're like, yeah, we don't see anything. We're sorry to bother you, this and that. And like, we just have to get it signed off by the head nurse or head doctor. Beautiful Spanish chick puts it on the screen. Tu tiene bolsas de droga en tu intestino. ¿Qué es? Heroína, cocaína? And she straight up tells me, bro, she's coming at me. I'm like, no, it's not. Where? She's like, it's seguro. She's like, it's for sure. She's screaming at me. And I'm like, I ate some Chinese food because it like looked like orange chicken or something. Like said they were loud. I was like, and they like boom, slapped the handcuffs off or slapped the handcuffs on, and boom, I'm going to jail, man. They took me to the hospital, told me I couldn't eat, gave me this X-Lax drink, disgusting. I was like pissing out my ass, bro. Like it was terrible. The Italian girl had to go to jail. She has a kid. It was bad, bro. I felt really bad for her because she had nothing to do with it. And after 3 days, we finally passed it all. The Colombian told me the exact amount we had, which I was so bummed.
So are they standing over you, counting the pellets?
They're like giving us one of the things you puke in, and they're like in like a room and like watching us, bro.
Yeah, they're giving you like an old school like hospital. What do you call it? Like bedpan.
Yeah, bedpan, bro. It was so bad, and dude, nothing was coming out, dude. It was just like after like 50 of them came out, and it was just like liquid, and then like I would sleep and they'd shake me. Try again. Jesus drink more X-Lax. Drink more of the laxative, and I'm like, no, leave me alone, because they couldn't go home until we were done.
Right.
So eventually it passed. But yeah, he told me the exact amount. I was so bummed, dude, because I was like, I'm going to pinch it off at 60, and I'm going to come up hard.
That's what you were thinking. You're like, no problem.
Yeah.
I'm going to bail out with 40 pellets still or whatever in my stomach.
No, there was no bail. I was just like, I was going to like be the man in jail right off the bat.
I see.
You know,
you're going to, take it into jail, of course.
Yeah, I was going to take it in jail.
Right,
yeah, I was going to like be like, all right, guys, I got it. Like, send me money, Western Union, or like you could send my money to my girl off the streets.
Well, they might have
put it on my books.
So, you know what I would have done if I was a Spanish inmate? I would have said, "How about stabby? Now I have your coke." That might have happened.
That could have happened. Yeah,
I don't know. You're a big guy.
It would have been a problem.
Yeah,
either way, it wouldn't have been a quick one.
Oh wow, that's crazy. So how many pellets total? How many did they weigh out the grams? Did you figure out the amount?
Dude, they like whatever it was, they weighed it like 300 grams. Like they straight skimmed it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
Oh dude, they're so corrupt, bro.
Spanish cops are super dirty.
Yeah.
Did you consider, because I know you can buy your way out, one of the early episodes of the Connect that I actually don't think ever saw the light of day, or it might be on the channel still. It was like a Zoom episode with this guy who got popped in Spain for a ton of like steroids. He said he spent all this time in prison, and then some guy was like, bro, you know you can buy your way out of here for like $8,000. That's what he did. Like they paid off the judge.
Really?
Got to the right people.
Well, yeah, that was a smaller
This was
crime.
back in the 90s. But
okay.
Still, like you can, if you had $100,000, you could probably pay your way out.
Yeah, because these guys, this French guy and this Italian guy had 1,000 kilos on a boat and got caught, and they got out quicker than me.
Really?
Yeah. And so he was paying judges and lawyers and like big money, But I was like, bro, I got a freaking less than a key. So if you have less than a kilo, it's 2 to 4 years, and if you have more, it's 5 to 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So you're looking at like minimum 2.
Yeah, minimum. So minimum 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where do they take you? Did they get the dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
They got both of us.
Did they get him with drugs though?
Yeah.
Okay, because he had just got out, was waiting for you with the stuff still in his system.
Oh yeah, we both got popped.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So
because I was questioned for like half an hour, and then he was in the parking garage, like at the girl's car waiting.
Okay. Dumbass.
He should have jumped in the taxi. He knows, he regrets it so bad. He should have just hopped in a taxi and left.
How much time did he end up doing?
Same as me, like 2.5 years.
Did they try to get you to like flip on the Connect?
I mean, we came from Colombia. What are they gonna do?
I don't know. I mean, in America, they'd be like, at least tell us. They'd try to make a call to the cops over there. You know what I mean? But they're not the DEA.
No,
That's
dude,
different.
They're not doing anything.
They don't. Spanish cops don't have affiliate satellites like the DEA does in other countries.
And even if they did with Colombia, it's like Colombia doesn't care, dude.
Right.
Like they got their own issues.
Right.
I mean, maybe the DEA has some insight somewhere, but they're not looking for like a guy with a couple kilos that they swallowed.
Not Spanish cops,
no.
for sure. Okay, got it. So it's kind of an open and shut case.
Yeah.
But you stay in jail, well, prison, but you don't even go to trial for like 2.5 years.
Yeah. It was like 1.5 years just in jail. And I kept looking, I was like, dude, because the coke was weird. We got smelled like gasoline. I was like, you think it was fake? He kept looking at it. I was like, maybe it was fake, bro. Maybe they're going to let us out. Like every day I was just like that hope you had to have. Yeah.
And you were charged? You'd already been charged, right?
No, just threw us in a holding cell.
And you were like that for 1.5 years?
No, like they put us in a holding cell and then they just threw us in general population.
No paperwork?
Nothing.
No,
and they
like,
asked if I wanted to call my embassy. I said no.
Because you got a case.
Because I have felony charges.
So they don't even give you paperwork. They don't give you a trial date or a court date, a date to appear.
No. But like, so
do you call your parents? You let your people know
I called
where
my
you're
parents after like a month. I called my parents, and my dad already kind of knew. He just had the feeling. He had a feeling both times I got caught. The first time with the ecstasy, because I was like, I'm gonna go do this run real quick. He's like, I don't think you should, and he knew. And then he had a weird feeling about when I was in Aruba, and that's when I got caught. So. I hadn't talked to him for a month. They tried to push the embassy on me. I said, nope, I deny it. And, I probably could have got some rights in there. But the embassy, bro, I thought we were like the greatest country in the world, had the best embassy. But our embassy's terrible, bro.
What do you mean?
They're like some American chicks hanging out with these Spanish dudes. Like, they do nothing.
Wow.
Like, maybe they can schedule you a visit. Like, I don't know. Who's going to visit you? Like, you're in another country. Like, bro, they do nothing. The other embassies, like English, Ireland, like, they give them some money. They give them, like, newspapers from back home. Like, they support them.
Yeah.
We didn't get any support. But so I'm there for, like, so they have a wrestling program called
Hang on. I want to hear about the prison and the prison conditions.
Yeah.
Did not part of you think, well, if we call Interpol, if I have the embassy call the DEA and be like, hey, this guy, he got popped for coke, but he'd like to come home and do his time for ecstasy. Like, I'd rather do my time in the feds here, home, than be just in the ether, bouncing or not knowing this is insane, bro. This is crazy.
Yeah. No, I would rather be in Spain.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
please tell us about what Spanish prison is like.
So, I mean, when you walk in, it's a little intimidating because, like, everyone, they try to mess with you. They're like, "Esa culito," when you walk in, like, and they separated me from the Colombian. And so, I'm solo. But there was some English guys there. There was some, people who spoke English. So I linked up with them. There was like a guy from Bermuda and stuff like that. And the conditions weren't terrible, but they weren't great either. I mean, you could wear your own street clothes, which was great. And they had activities to do, like wrestling, kickboxing, gym. Like, so I was just like,
I heard people over there, before we get into this, because this is interesting, but I heard everybody there, like a third of the people have AIDS. Yeah. Because they're banging heroin.
So this was
that true?
This was the scary part, bro. I'm in here for 3 months. And all of a sudden they take us in the back and they're like, have this needle. I'm like, what's that? And they're like, we're testing for tuberculosis. And so they stab you and it lumps up. And if it like blows up, you have tuberculosis. If it just goes back down, you don't. So I'm like, all right, cool. And all of a sudden we're all back. Like they do the whole pod. And I look at some of these like Moroccan guys and stuff, and their arms are just blowing up. So all these dudes have tuberculosis, and I've been in there with them for 3 months.
Terrifying.
But yeah, going back to the thing with AIDS, there was this guy, bro, no hair, no eyelashes, and like a complete junkie with AIDS.
Yeah.
And he's like, I remember like it was kind of like some friction, and he's like, I'll stab you with a needle. Like that, like, and I was like, bro, we're cool.
Right.
Like,
doesn't matter how tough you are.
yeah,
You're like, whatever, dude, have my soup.
I mean, he wouldn't like try to punk me, but like, I was gonna like beat him up because he was just like a junkie, like, and just, I forget what happened, but I just called. I was like, bro, listen, we're cool. Just like keep your distance.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, there's like brooms and stuff you could fight with in there. You could easily make weapons in there. People did.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was more of like a life. So you weren't like so like just sitting there like, oh, he touched my toaster. Like in America, it was like Rikers was 20 times worse than the Spanish prison by far. I would like that was the worst part of the whole stint.
Really?
Yes, by far. And so I linked up with some, and I heard there was this American guy in there, and he was a legend. They called him Chicago. And like this dude started riots. This dude's like running pods, and like he's this crazy dude. And everyone's like, "Oh, you got to meet Chicago." Like everyone was scared of him and stuff. Like, so like,
where was he from? Cleveland.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So you know, so I find this wrestling thing, right?
Yes.
So they you know, they have all these programs there. You got to write an estancia, it's called, and you gotta wait your time. It takes like 3 months to get in these programs. I walk right up to the coach of the Lucha Canaria, which is like wrestling in a gladiator pit with sand. You wear like a gi and you roll it up and you go shoulder to shoulder. You grab their like pant leg and you go best out of 3 takedowns in the sand pit. Once you beat them, the next heavier guy comes. So it's like a wrestling team sport.
Fascinating. And this comes from Senegal, right?
Yeah, it does come from Senegal. Yeah. It's similar, but they have their own twist in the Canary Islands. So the coach is the dad of Trota Espino, who is a UFC fighter. Really? And he is like the legend. So his dad's in there for like 50 kilos of coke. And like was like working with the police, and like a cop and him like got caught. Wow. So I roll up, bro, and you're supposed to like takes 3 months to get in. I show him, I'm pointing to my ears. I'm like, bro, let me go. He's like, all right, come on. So dude, I fall back in love with wrestling. You know, I start to sober up, and like you could definitely take a route of like shooting heroin. Like there's so much drugs in there. Right. I got my prescription for Xanax and I got my sleeping pill. That was the only thing I got, and I would smoke hash. And drink prison hooch when that was around, but it wasn't around much. Right. You know, but I wasn't going down like
compared to the streets. You're basically
I'm sobering up.
Yeah,
which is
you
know.
Wow, your first time sober, or basically sober in what, like a decade?
Yeah. So I start to clear my head, man. I'm like, dude, what am I gonna do? Like I'm rock bottom. Like I'm 22 at the time, or 23. And then they had a kickboxing program. I start kickboxing, strength conditioning. So I'm just like, it's like a full fight camp. And like, I'm just training hard. And like, I feel like God's talking to me, like, you're going to the UFC to win a champ. Like, you're going to win that belt. So like, I feel like God's speaking this to me, and I have this epiphany. I'm like, dude, I'm not like these people. Like, what am I doing here? Yeah. Like, how did I end up here? Like, I start like waking up from this, like, drunken, drugged out stupor I was in. And you know, and I actually beat a professional team from the streets. A team comes in and these guys are getting paid. Then the president of the Federation of Lucha Canaria writes a letter to the warden of the prison and says, we want to keep this guy. We want him to wrestle for our team. So in my head, I'm like, this is my career path. I'm going to get out. These guys are making like 4,000 euros a month, which there it's like, good money. Everything's super cheap there. So I'm like, yeah, man, I'm going to do this. And then next thing you know, bro, this other team comes in from the street and they tell me, don't talk about it. Like, don't do an interview. And I did this interview. I was like, I've done wrestling, jiu-jitsu, but I love Lucha Canaria more than anything. Like, I'm just trying to play this part. And they're like super racist. Like, they did not like an American dominating in their sport. And me and the crazy Chicago guy met up. And now we're on the same pod, and like we're getting like crazy. And we start drinking and selling alcohol, and we beat the team, and we're just like basically running the pod. Like if people have drug debts, we go collect them. If people get out of line, and dude, he's just slapping people left and right, like wham, open hand. And I'm like, dude, we're gonna get like stabbed.
Yeah.
And they would just bow down to it. Like, I don't know why. Like, he just had this aura. Like even the guards got mad at him, and he was like, either you get this guy out of here, or there's gonna be a helicopter here soon. He would tell the guards, and they'd be like, all right, we'll get the guy out of there. Wow. Anyways, they didn't like us, so they split us up. And then one day the lady came up, threw a bag in my face. She's like, you're getting out of here. I was like, what? I had my girlfriend there. I had my like connection to give me contacts because I had very bad vision at the time. And I packed up my bag. They Con Air me to the north of Spain, like out of nowhere.
Wow. And you had to leave your wrestling team?
Everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you went to a prison in the north of Spain.
They Con Aired me, bro. It was a crazy scene.
Oh, yeah. This was wild. Tell us about this. These cops on the Con Air.
Dude, they roll up in ski masks, and like, there's like the Guardia Civil and the National Guard, but these are like special forces. Like, and they charter a commercial plane because they don't have like planes for criminals or whatever. So we're at the airport, rolled up, bro. Like, you can't even look up. You're shackled from head to toe. You look up, they stick their mouth, and they like stick their hands all up in your mouth, like searching for stuff, rip your shoelaces off. Then you get in this plane, and every time you look up, bro, they wham, hit you in the back of the head, like hard, bro, like rock you. And we'd seen Con Air like a couple weeks before it came on, so I was just like, it was a trip, man. It was crazy. The Con Air, we had like terrorists, like crazy people, like 200 people, shipped us to the south of Spain, and then we got bussed to the north of Spain. Eventually, I made my way in a place called Leon.
Lion.
Yeah, Lion.
Do you know yet when your court date's coming up?
So now I got sentenced. That's why they were able to move me. I finally got sentenced. Okay. I think it was like 2 years and 8 months.
And that includes the time you'd already been in?
Yeah.
Time served?
Yep.
Okay. Did they like assign you a lawyer? Or is that even necessary?
Yeah, I had like some public defender. He was terrible.
Right.
I didn't even know who he was.
Of course.
Yeah.
So that's just, they just offer you the first deal and you take it? Okay.
Yep. And then I signed a paper that I wouldn't come back to Europe for 5 years. So they cut my sentence 2/3.
Right.
Yeah. Or 1/3 or 1/4 or something like that. They cut off a portion of it because I just
agreed not to come back.
I thought it was Spain. But when I got in the UFC, I was trying to find England. Like, bro, you're kicked out of all of Europe.
Wow.
So they had to like find lawyers, and like we had to find that public defender, and he wouldn't answer me. And so I called one of my boys, and my boy rolled up on him and was like, yo, call him back. Like, he's going to fight in the UFC. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
So you were in the Interpol computers throughout the whole European Union. Like,
yeah,
don't let this guy in.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. So, okay. So how long are you at Leon for?
So I was probably in Leon like 6 months, and they had a boxing program.
Okay. And
I fell in love with the boxing there. It was like this old school, like, looked like Mickey out of Rocky, like this old school guy. And, there was 3 activities you could choose in the day. I'd choose 2 of them, boxing, 1 strength conditioning. So I was boxing for like 2.5, 3 hours a day. So I'm just going, bro. And then we would have fights and sparring matches. The whole guards would come, put bets on it. Like, it was like the movies. Like, I won a couple fights. I lost this Russian who had been locked up for like 20 years and all he's been doing is training.
Wow.
And it was pretty crazy.
You must have felt good though.
Yeah, I felt good. I was trained, bro.
Yeah.
I was feeling really good.
So what's the plan though? You got America this whole time. You have this fugitive case still from the States.
Yeah. So
and you want to become a fighter. So how do we reconcile this? What happens next?
Yeah. So my dreams of being a Lucha Canaria were taken away. Now I'm going to the UFC. Like I felt like God was speaking to me, like, you're going to be UFC champ. And so I was just training. And my goal was to train my mind, body, and spirit every single day. So I was training my body with strength conditioning, boxing. I was reading books. I never read books in my life. And all of a sudden I'm reading books, and I was reading the Bible and praying and going to church. And I was just becoming this like weapon in this like And that's why I got named the Hurricane, because a Reuben Carter boxer had a similar story. And you know, finally, bro, they would play mind games. They're like, oh, you're going to get out next week. The week would go by. Oh, mañana. Bro, they would play like so many. They played like mind games for like 6 months. Like you had to come to a point where you're like, I don't care when I get out. I don't care about my life anymore. And that's how you beat them.
Wow.
Because the more you care, they'd play mind games with you.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very like psychological warfare. And like they'd send you a paper, sign this paper, you're going to get out soon. Oh, we're going to send you home soon. And then like you'd be like, and then you'd be like arguing with them, and they love it. Like, and then they would.
Didn't you have a release date though? Didn't you know the date?
No,
the earliest release.
No way, bro. Like they said, once you sign that paper, they said they're gonna cut your sentence sometime off, and they're gonna send me back to the States.
So how did you finally get out?
So finally, bro, they took me to a jail and had me there for a couple of days, and then they finally took me to the airport in handcuffs, put me in this holding cell. And then they walked me to the plane, took the handcuffs finally off, handed the passport to the flight attendant, who gave it to the pilot. Boom. I'm free for the first time in like 2 years and 4 months.
Okay, but do you think like are they? Do you know where you're being flown to? Do they tell you?
Yeah, I'm going to JFK.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you have no idea if they're waiting for you there.
No idea, bro. Because at this point,
God.
So at this point, I think probably a year and a half in, the embassy hits me up. We know you're locked up.
Okay.
And I was like, oh no. And I'm like, dude, my stomach like sunk when I heard that. I read the letter, and they're like, we want to meet with you. And I'm like, all right. So they meet with me, bro. They don't say anything about it though. They're just like, we want to make sure you're okay and your parents and this and that.
Wow.
I'm like, yeah. They don't say anything about it, which is weird. But when I got to New York, so I'm in this plane, bro, first time free. I'm like, give me a wine bottle. And I'm like, dude, I shouldn't drink, but I know what I'm about to, I know what's about to happen.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like talking, I'm like hitting on, I haven't seen girls in so long. So I'm
Right.
like hitting on all these girls. They probably think I'm crazy. I'm just like so talkative and walking around and like just have this like crazy, like people were like, what's wrong with this guy? Boom, we land. I remember I saved up wine bottles, and then right when I was landing, I just went. Because I was like, this is about to get heavy.
Yeah.
And like in my mind, I was like, can I run through JFK? Can I run out of there? I was like, no, 9/11. It's not going to work. They're going to get me. Like, because I was like thinking about trying to make a run for it. And
Sure.
boom, we landed JFK. They hand me my passport as I'm walking off the plane. I walk up to security to like the checkpoint. Beep. They scan my passport. Sir, how long have you been out the country? I'm like, a little while. They're like, how's a while? How long's a while? And I'm like, 5 years. And they're like, yeah, come with me. Boom, they walk me in the back, bro. And I'm in the JFK airport. There's all these like immigrants and like, they're like interrogating, screaming at people like, this is the wrong passport. It's not you.
Wow.
And like, so like, it's just like craziness. So I'm sitting there and then they're like, I'm like, what is it? What is it? They're like, I don't know. Something pops up, but you have, you're going to get locked up and have no bail. And I was like, really? And so then they put me in the Jamaica Queens jailhouse for 4 days over a weekend. Yeah. Terrible, bro.
Yeah.
I'm so lucky. This Italian guy gave me this leather jacket. It was like this Italian leather jacket, like goat skin or something. I just lived in that thing, bro. Cause it was like pimps coming in and junkies and like I was the only white boy and it was just like so sketchy, bro.
Yeah.
Like it was just bad. And then they would kept funneling people through and they're like, and then I'm like, hey, what's up with me, bro? Like, are we gonna do something? I'm just in the holding cell. And they're like, you're a different case. Shut up. And finally, bro, went to my public defender and they're like, went in front of the judge and they're like, Mr. Heinisch, you have felony charges and we're granting you no bail and you're going to Rikers Island. Public defender sits me down. She's like, you need to go to protective custody. And I was like, why? And she's like, you need to go there. She's like, you got to go. And I was like, and then I didn't even know what Rikers was. And I was like, nah, man, leave me. I was like, throw me at the wolves. I'll lead the pack. Like I've been locked up for 2.5 years. I'm not scared. I'm not going to Punk City.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to freaking general population. So then they drive us to this place, bro. And it's like a bridge and then a fence. I'm like, bro, this is really an island. I'm like, cause I really didn't know anything about it.
Were you the only white guy on the bus?
Yeah. Yeah. Only white guy on the
There you
bus.
go.
And
The public defender knew something.
yeah. So that I get there and they're walking me to maximum security because I'm a fugitive.
Right.
So they're walking me down, and I remember the guard, he's like, man, you must be one bad white boy. And I'm like, why is that? And he's like, we don't see you guys around here. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like terrified of him. I'm like, you damn right. Like, you know, and
they only send Italians there.
And so
those are the only white guys they send there.
And so we get there, bro, and like, dudes, boom, jump in my, hey man, this is what it is, this is what it is. And like they're trying to put like food under my pillow. I'm like, bro, take this stuff. I know how this works.
Yeah.
I'm not taking your stuff, bro. Like, I don't want any issues. And
so you're in a high security wing in Rikers Island.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is that like? Is it individual cells or is it pods?
Individual cells.
Okay.
Which was good.
Yeah.
It's like one hallway with cells, and then you just have a little common area. It's very small.
Right.
Might have even been better. I don't know. But I mean, obviously your maximum security, you have dudes that are like out of control. So, you know, it's first day at lunch. I grab my food. I go to sit down. You got the Latins there, and you got the blacks right here. And I'm just like, oh man, this is so bad. And luckily, I was speaking Spanish to one of the guys, and he was like kind of cool with me. And I was like, if you need to go to Colombia, I got the connect. Yeah. I just got here. Yeah. Somehow I had my passport. I was showing him all the stamps and stuff. I didn't know how that happened.
That's a good way to make friends. And, I got the plug.
Yeah, I
just
got the plug, bro. And so they were like, they let me, they're like, hey, gringo, come sit with us. So like, I was like, thank God. So like, we're going in, and like, you know, it's just like, there'll be like a opposite gang member coming in, get stomped out, bro. Like, you'd see the gangs, you'd see the guards coming, and they'd be like, what up, blood? What up, blood? To the inmates. So like, they're all connected, bro. And like, I saw a dude get knocked out, lay there in a pool of blood for like 20 minutes, and the dude like walked back over like randomly and soccer kicked him in the face, bro. And I was just like, and like the guards are just chilling, like eating their food, reading their newspaper, like, oh, come get this guy. Yeah. And I'm just like, this is bad. I'm like, wow.
That's wild.
And
what were some of the cases? What are some of the people on that wing? What were they facing?
Dude, I have no idea. Like at that point, like I just knew not to ask any questions. Like I didn't want to know anything about these guys. Like I was cool with the guy Fingers. He was the leader of one of their gangs, which I don't even want to mention gang names just because like, but like he was missing a couple fingers, got it cut off. Wow. And you know, he kind of looked out for me. It was cool. But these guys were coming in, Heinisch, you got to go to court. I would have to get out of my cell, do the whole pull your pants down, squat and cough, get back on the bus, drive across to Jamaica, sit in this nasty holding cell, eat these gross peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for 8 hours. And they'd be like, all right, we're going back. And I'm like, what? No judge, no lawyer. Like, they did this 3 days in a row, bro. Like,
and they get you up at 5 a.m.
Yeah, they get you up at 5 a.m. And you come back at like 5. Like, it was like ridiculous. Like, and finally, the one day I was like, no, I'm not going. And they're like, oh, and then like Fingers like, bro, you're gonna go. They're coming with tasers if you don't go. And I'm like, all right, I'll go. So I go, and I'm just like super mad. And one day I was in the holding cell, and I saw the mirror, like, you know how they have the bent mirrors like that, and I could see the cell next to us, and it was just full of like 5 white boys. And I asked the brother, I was like, hey man, what are all those white boys? He's like, oh, that's protected custody, that Punk City. And I just go off on them, bro. I was like, I was like, why are you going over there? And this dude's like, get him. Like, he's loving it, bro. Like, so like, I was just like, you guys are running and making our race look bad. Like, what are you doing? Obviously, I was just in the mode, you know? Like, I was just like, so we go back. The guy's like, I'm using your phone. I said, nobody's using my phone today. Like, I'm just in a bad mood, bro. He's
what
like,
does that mean? Your phone? Your
so
phone
like,
time, right?
Yeah, phone time. So like, you trade a bag of chips for phone time or whatever. So he's like, really? Meet me in the back. This is the same dude who's like been giving me issues. Like when I'll be like shadow boxing, and he'll walk by and be like, you fight? We fight for real on the streets. And I'm like, okay. Like, cause you know, I've been training, bro. Like I'm like a machine right now. Yeah. And so this dude comes back, bro. I think we're about to get in a fist fight, pulls out this nasty shank, like in my face, bro. And I'm like, whoa, man, whoa. I was like, dude, I don't want no problems. Boo. He kind of like lets his guard down. Boom. Lay him out. Then his brothers start come running up, bro. So I take my shirt off to grab knives. And I was like, this is so bad in my mind. Like I was like, I'm about to get it from every angle.
So you took your shirt off to grab the knife so you wouldn't have your prints on it? Is that your thinking?
No.
What do you mean? Why are you taking your shirt off?
Because if you try to grab someone's hand with a knife and they jerk it out, you're gonna slice your hand up.
Of course.
So I put my shirt on my my hand so I could grab people's knives.
I got you. So they're strapped. They have shanks on them.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And I don't have one. So and I wouldn't want one either. They're nasty. And but then the Latin dudes come up and they're like, "No, you mess with him, you mess with us. He got heart. He's with us." And I was like, "Thank God." So they break it up. They throw me in my cell. Fingers comes back up to me and he's like, "Hey, man, you got to get out of here, bro." He's like, "These guys got a SOS on you and you got to go to protective custody." And I was like, "What's the SOS?" He's like, "Stab on sight." And I was like, "Really?" And I was like, "All right." So I called the guard over. I was like, "Guard," I was like, "Bro, you got to get me out of here." I was like, "These guys want to kill me and they're going to do it in the morning. I got to go." He goes, "F you, white boy." Slammed the door in my face. Wow. Never forget that.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. So I'm up all night praying, making armor, like tearing my room apart, like talking to Fingers. He's sliding me over Suboxone. Like I'm like popping that stuff. Wow. And like I've like read The Art of War. I'm like, I'm gonna funnel him in the tunnel. I was like, because like I've seen what they do. They'll just open the door and let the guys come.
Yeah.
Like they'll just open your door and hit in their doors.
Yeah.
And they'll just come.
They'll do that on Rikers too.
Yeah, they'll do that.
They'll straight up.
Oh yeah, they'll
let
like
guys in to kill you.
He obviously they told the guards to keep me there.
Right. Right.
Usually they move you out.
Right.
Like they don't want those issues, but the guards already knew.
Wow.
So dude, I'm like freaking out, dude.
Did you have a weapon?
No.
Did you think about getting one?
No, I just wanted armor. Like there was nothing. I couldn't make a shank, bro. These guys spent hours. Like they make them like chips of the wall and all, like I didn't know how to do that. Like I was just like, I was gonna like tuck all the sheets in my clothes so I had armor, and then just like have like my hand and I like put my mattress against the wall, so you had to come through this like small area. So I was just like, when they come through, I'm gonna knock them out one by one, and I'm gonna grab knife and I'm gonna knock them out.
Right.
And but like an hour before, bro, God came through, man, and just like Heinisch, and I'm like, all like tweaked out, like didn't sleep that much, and they're like, I was like, "Who are you?" And it's like these big two white football player looking dudes, and they're like, U.S. Marshal, and they like look at me like my room's like tore apart. They're like, "Is this all your stuff?" And I'm like, I was like, "Yeah," and they're like, "All right, let's go," and then like. They're like, "Do you have stuff at the front?" And I like my passport, all these clothes and stuff. I was like, "Nope, let's go." I was like, "Get me out of here, bro!" Like, bro, I just wanted out of there.
Yeah.
So then they put me on this bus, shackled like this. So like, I can't like extend like this. I can't straighten my back. They drove from New York to Pennsylvania to Vermont back to New York. So within 48 hours, I'm back in New York. And I'm like, what is going on?
Are they just picking people up and dropping them off?
Just circling the country. I think they get more money every time they cross the state or drop someone off.
Yeah.
So they're just circling.
Yep.
Circling. And it is just torture, bro. Like the AC was out on the thing, or sorry, the heater was out on the van. And it's February in the East Coast. It's freezing, bro. At night, we would just be shivering like this, and you just sleep like this. And every 72 hours, they have to, by law, let you out into a jail. But just so happened, every 72 hours, I'd like lay down and be like, "Thank God, Heinisch, you're on the next one." So like I wouldn't even get like more than 20 minutes on a bed. So
they do that on they do that to people on planes. They'll put you. I've heard of them putting you on Con Air, flying you to Oklahoma, then flying you to wherever, Michigan. They'll and just keep bouncing you around this, and then you break. You say, "I'll take a deal." So they do it as a way to like crack you as well.
I know, yeah, and they only let you pee every 6 hours.
Wow.
So
and
like
you're bouncing, and you got the box. Yeah, dude,
you're
I'm
like
getting
this.
PTSD right
you're
now.
Like this, bro. Like you're literally. I was like, bro, I was in Europe. Like, I don't even think I'll get treated that bad in Colombia. Well, maybe, but like in Europe, I was like, this is terrible. Like I'm getting treated like a straight animal.
Yep.
And this was like a real like eye-opening part too. I was like, I have to go pee like so bad. And I'm like, he's like, "Shut up or we won't feed you." And he bounces a Gatorade bottle off my head. And I just like grab the bottle, hit my knees, and I'm just like pissing all over myself. And I'm just like, dude, this is bad. So I haven't slept a single night because it's just this.
Yeah.
The whole time. I can't sleep. The one night The first car we were in didn't have a heater. And at nights, bro, I'm telling you, I thought this old guy was in there. I thought he was going to die. Like, it was so, like, we were just shivering, bro. And they just didn't care. No. And so after 11 days, I finally made it to Jefferson County, Colorado. They put us in this mountain jail. Finally, bro, I had pillowcases. Like, you never get a pillowcase. Like I was just like, but I couldn't sleep, dude, because I was like hallucinating. And there was like this escape artist who was with us this one point. He's like, yeah, I'm an escape artist. I was like, what? I was like, you really think you could escape? He's like, absolutely. And I was like, really? And he's like, oh yeah, bro. And I'm like, he's like, I can't though. I have a kid now. He's like, I got to go home. I got to deal with these charges. I got to be good. And I'm like, well, tell me a time when you would escape. Bro, he slips his cuffs like nothing, picks his locks, has the locks off. And like, there was a time when we were at like a police station and they like took someone and the door was open and he looks at me, he goes, now, I would run now. Wow. And like, so he would just be chilling with his cuffs off and like, it was, and then like the guards would come and he'd put them all back on.
Whoa.
And he said they put him in the back of a police car and handcuffed. He slipped the cuffs. He pushed the ceiling up, which made a little gap in between, jumped in the front seat, unlocked the door, and got out.
He's Houdini.
Yeah, he's like Houdini with it. Wow. So I met some interesting characters, to say the least. Got back to Jefferson County, went there. So I went from like all Spanish and Moroccan to all Black and Latino to all white boys.
Yeah. Still haven't been free though, except for that one plane ride.
Yeah. And then I'm there for like 2 days. Terrible, bro. Like, and then boom, my mom posts bail. I'm free for the first time in 2.5 years, 2014 Valentine's Day.
Wow.
And my dad calls me. He's like, I'm at a yoga festival downtown. So I go downtown Denver and I'm doing yoga with my dad. And I just keep looking around. I'm just like laughing and people are looking at me. I'm like, you guys have no idea. So I went from all that then to a bunch of white chicks.
Wow. Oh my God. So now you're in federal court. So you're facing time for your original charge, your ecstasy charge.
Yeah. So I'm bailed out now.
Yeah.
So I know like, I'm like, I can't drink. I know that's the issue. Like, I can't drink. Like I need to continue to seek God, but I went to a church and like, it was just all about money. And I was like, I don't want that. I don't need that. And I found a gym, an MMA gym, start training there. Next thing you know, 4 months in, all right, you're ready for an amateur fight. Go 4-0 as an amateur, all knockout and all knockout and submission. Then I turn pro. And I go 8-0 as a professional. I make it to the fight. They say, you win this fight, you're in the UFC. You lose, you're in the back of the line. Well, a year before this, I had torn my LCL before a fight, like a year and a half before this. Went to the doctor, 40 Percocet, they prescribed me. Oh, instantly hooked. Now I'm doing Oxy. My dad has Oxy. I'm smoking it. I'm going to Mexico after my fights and I'm buying like bulk, taking it back, flying home with it.
Just and you're on bail still? Is this still?
Oh shoot, I kind of fast forward that. So before, I think it was like my second pro fight, I did my probation. I did everything I had to do. I didn't smoke. I didn't drink. I didn't do anything. I passed every UA.
Okay.
My probation officers I've had in the past were horrible. Yeah. Like attack you in every way. This one was amazing. She spoke Spanish. I spoke Spanish with her. She loved me. I would like send her pictures of my fights. Like she was so cool. Finally, she was just like so chill with me. I went to court because it was like, you had to have like, so first when you got bail, there was like not a parole officer, but someone that like a pre-court.
Yeah. Pre-trial.
Officer.
Yeah.
So I went to court and I had been doing everything right. I've been doing community service, like everything I could do, I did. I showed up in court. My coach spoke. My aunt spoke, who was a social worker in the place. She got me the best public defender. And the stands were full of fighters, UFC fighters, Bellator fighters. Wow. So the judge saw that and they were like, he has a prominent career in fighting. Wow. And so the judge was like, Mr. Heinisch, since you haven't been in trouble for the last 5 years...
And you're like, whoa, who briefed this guy?
He's like, we never see that. And that's amazing. He's like,
Hang on, but did the fact that you've been on the run come into play at all? Like, did the DA or the assistant U.S. attorney try to use that to like argue against giving you leniency?
I don't know, dude. He just said because I hadn't gotten any trouble.
That doesn't make any sense, though. You skipped bail.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like I was on
Whatever.
the run, but I just didn't turn myself in and I didn't get in trouble.
Sure, fair
So
enough.
they had no idea I was out of the country.
Doing time, swallowing coke, muling coke, and doing time in a Spanish prison.
Like they didn't talk somehow, bro.
That's
Like
hilarious.
I slipped through the cracks, bro. It was a God thing for sure. Yeah, so, you know, he said, Mr. Heinisch, I'm going to give you no extra fines, which I already had to pay like $25K. And he's like, I'm going to give you 2 years of probation. Wow. Beautiful. I said, thank you, God. Walked out of there. I was so grateful for everyone who came. And boom, that's when the fighting career started. Wow. Fought for professional. Fast forward, now I get to this fight. But a year and a half before that, I'm back hooked on drugs, bro. Like I'm back, like, and like this was a bad addiction. Like painkillers are rough, bro. Opioids, woo. I would quit 3 weeks before my fight. I'd be deathly ill with the withdrawals for a week. Then I would feel better, cut my weight, fight, and then to celebrate, I didn't drink.
Yeah.
I would take pills. Wow. So it's this vicious cycle I couldn't break.
Should we maybe talk about that on the Patreon? I think we should do it. Talk about that on the Patreon because I want to talk about fighting. I want to talk about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about God.
Yes.
I want to, because that's just kind of a new thing in my life as well. So let's just wrap so I could take a breather because that was an incredible story. Sound good?
Yeah.
Did it ever occur to you when you got sentenced to probation that you might have just not skipped bail, not gone and fled to Tenerife in Europe and muled coke and, you know, been in the mountains with Colombian guerrillas and then in Spanish prison? You could have maybe skipped all that and just gone to parole.
Yeah.
Gotten probation. But
dude, I was
maybe not though, because you were so spun out.
No, this is why. Because I would have never been able to complete probation.
Right.
I knew for a fact.
Right.
I wasn't going to be able to not drink. I was not going to be able to not smoke weed and do drugs.
Right.
And you're getting random UAs. And you know how it is. It just compounds, bro. If you're on probation and you fail UAs,
of course.
Boom, now they hit you with that.
Yeah.
Now you're in jail. Then you come, like, it's just, you can get trapped by the system so easily if you don't truly make a change. Like, because like you'll get in trouble and then you're like, oh, I don't want jail. I got to continue my job. All right, now you're on probation. Now you got to pay for UAs. You got to pay for these fees. You got to pay for all these classes. You got to drive yourself to these meetings.
Right.
And it's like it's a full-time job on top of the job. And it's very hard to complete.
Totally.
Like that's why, because before I was on probation for so long, finally I went to the judge. I brought my wrestling trophy that I just won. And I said, I can't do probation anymore. How much time will you give me in jail? She gave me 10 days.
Wow.
Okay. And like, that was young. I was like 18 or something.
Right.
And I was like, I cannot do it anymore. I just won a national tournament. I'm going to college for wrestling. I can't do probation anymore. It's too hard for me.
Yeah.
How much time are you going to give me? She gave me 10 days in jail and it squashed everything.
Totally. Worth it.
It was completely worth
Yeah.
it, bro. Because probation, it's great because you don't have to go to jail, but it costs a lot of money and it's just a lot of time. And it's hard, bro, because like, especially if you get a bad officer, like you'll be like, have all these plans. Oh, your color came up today. You got to go pee.
Yep.
And you're like, you can't travel. Like, it's just like,
it's not freedom really.
it isn't freedom, bro.
And it's set up to just make you fail up again.
Yep.
And give them more money. It's all revolves around revenue for the government.
Yes, that's a fact. So at the time I was like, there is no way I'm going to be able to do probation. And I didn't want to go to jail. And honestly, I was ready to like go on this adventure. Like I was like fired up about it. Like
I'm glad you did. Because you got this amazing story.
Yeah, I was freaking out because like I thought I was maybe going to get stopped in like the JFK like airport. But you don't get stopped going out. They don't check you at all.
No.
It's only coming back.
Exactly. Have you ever driven into Mexico? They wave you in.
Yeah.
They barely even have cameras. Like you just.
Yeah. My buddy robbed a safe from a club and got charges on him and drove to Mexico and lived there for 3 years.
Oh, which buddy is this? Is that the guy?
No, he's a different guy.
Oh, no. Okay, so whatever happened to the guy in the crazy English guy?
Oh, the crazy English guy. Yeah. So he disappeared, ran off, and now he does like reality television shows on Bravo.
What the? That's so
And
random.
so it was crazy because when I fought my second fight in the UFC, it was in London.
Yeah.
So it was just crazy because like it was crazy how it happened. My first UFC fight, short notice in Argentina. So like there was a time when I was back in Argentina and I'm sitting there and I'm like, dude, I'm back in South America.
Right.
I'm doing it legal. This is cool. I get to go beat someone up, get paid. And I was like, this is awesome. So my first fight, it was a round trip back to South America. My second fight was a round trip back in Europe.
Wow.
And so it was like, and then my third fight was in New York. Like it was like I went like on this tour of like the tracks that I was on. Obviously, I was in Argentina, not Colombia, but it was still South America. And I was back in London. I went to Spain. I visited the English guy. I visited the Colombians.
Yeah.
And it was really sad too. I was in touch with the Guatemalan guy. His younger brother, who I was really good friends with, went back to Guatemala and was in some drug stuff and got smoked. He's dead. Yeah, he got machine gunned down.
That'll happen down there.
Yeah, dude, real easy, real quick.
Whatever happened to the Colombian dad? Now, did he get deported back to Colombia?
No, he has like dual citizenship in Spain.
Wow, lucky.
So his dad was actually Canarian and jumped on a cargo ship to get out of the Canary Islands, and they found him like halfway and they were going to kill him, and he jumped off the boat and swam to Colombia.
What the?
So that's how his dad ended up in Colombia.
Became Colombian.
Yeah.
Wow. Is this an African guy? Are they black?
No, they're dark-skinned Colombians. Like he was Canarian.
Right.
Canarian Colombian, just
Right.
like Latino.
Wow.
Dark-skinned Latino.
God, that's crazy. Do you miss any of it?
I kind of miss like the adventure, like just being so free, because now it's like so many responsibilities, but like I would not trade it, man. It's like, it was just like it was a season that I needed to become the person I am. Yep. And like, that's like, cause like, I'm like, what if, like, what if I just train wrestling? Cause I was like national champ, state champ, like winning all this stuff. Like, but like I partied so hard, I was still winning. Like, what if I didn't party? What if I went to the UFC and like, but then I'm like, yeah, then the success and the money would have came, and what would I have done? That animal inside of me would have went down that road, and I would have ruined everything. Instead, I went down that road now, and now when success comes, I'm like, all right, I know how to handle it. I'm not, I see that road, but I ain't going down there. I was there.
Right.
So,
and plus you've earned it. Like you're not selling drugs, you're training hard, or you've got this new like crypto business, and it's like this is a passion, and like it's a much more lasting satisfaction than the just quick adrenaline spike of, swallowing a kilo.
even though when I got out of the x-ray, after the x-ray, when I passed that x-ray, that was an adrenaline spike, like winning a fight. That was the closest thing, bro. Like I'm telling you, my whole body was like shaking, but I felt like I could jump up to the ceiling.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, man, I mean, I got hooked on pills and I just wasn't changing, bro. And I really had to seek my relationship with God, and I really had to find that true change. And it didn't come till I fully surrendered that. I let go of that old life, and it was like overnight transformation, like God. And then I got baptized, and it was like, I saw the water as being dark when I walked in, it was clear. When I got out, it was dark. And I felt like God was like, there's your sin and your addiction dead. And from that time, man, I was broke. I was living in my buddy's basement. I was not in the UFC, and I was struggling with oxy addictions. Yeah. And 1 year later, bro, I was sober, broke into the UFC, 4 knockout win streak, broke into the top 10 of the UFC, met my wife, married my wife, and bought a house with her.
Wow.
So it was just like God just like blessed me when I just let go of that old life. And there's been struggles. Like I was telling you before, I had this brain injury. I've like everything feels good. Like, and I'm beating these guys in the gym, and now they're in like main events and like fighting for titles. And I'm like, dude, I've still got it. But like this brain injury is scary because it was making me feel like a different person, and I was losing who I was. And, but now, when I was messed up at my house, on the computer, what am I going to do? And I was looking for this stem cell treatment in Cellular Performance Institute, got a quote. It was like 20, 30 grand. I was like, I could afford it, but I'd be strapped because I haven't fought in a while.
Right.
got on this call with this meme coin, Joe Rogan's dog, Marshall Rogan Inu. It was a Twitter space. Got on there, told him my whole story. I was like, I paid $10K for a fight camp and now I can't fight. And I was like, and the stem cells would help. They call me after, they say, we want to pay for it. I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, give us your Ethereum address. Boom, they send me $30K in Ethereum. I call the stem cell place. Hey man, you take Ethereum for payment? Yes, we do. Boom, sent it right over. Wow. I was like, crypto's crazy, bro. With clicks of a button, I'm moving money like that.
But look at that. Look at, you're doing the right thing, and when you need help, it's there for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
That's like, what God is.
Yes, God provides, man, and that's what he did. And then, you know, it helped a ton. And now I have a great relationship with Ed Clay. That was Ed Clay.
Yeah.
The interview you saw, he's the owner of Cellular Performance Institute.
Okay.
They're partnered with the UFC.
Wow.
Good people. I'm going to go meet them in Nashville next week for the Bitcoin conference. We're going to go watch fights, watch Trump speak.
Yeah. Dude, okay, let's I can't wait. There's so much we're going to talk about on the Patreon in this vein. But plug what you got going on. I want people to come with you, what you're doing.
Yeah. So Crypto Kings, you know, we are a crypto YouTube channel. You can follow me on Instagram, Ian Heinisch MMA. Same with Twitter, Ian Heinisch MMA. If you want some good crypto plays, we're in the middle of a crypto bull market. We are about to witness an explosive bull run with green candles and everyone getting money. So if you want to be a part of that and find some good plays, Crypto Kings live stream if you want the YouTube, Ian Heinisch MMA on Twitter and on Instagram. And then I just started, a podcast, which is going to be a media company. And this is just about testimonies, powerful stories of what God has done in people's life, full transformation similar to mine. And that is Spirit and Truth Media, Spirit and Truth Media 316 on YouTube. So, you know, I'll drop it in the comments whenever you post
That's all going to be,
this.
all those links will be in the description too. And bro, yes, switch over to the Patreon, but I can tell you right now, I'm going to go to your crypto consulting, CryptoKings.com.
Yeah.
Because I think this is, if you're a young person and you want to build wealth, there is no better opportunity in this generation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'll give you a play on the Patreon too.
Yes, please.
If you guys want it, it's a layer 1 that is so undervalued and it is brand new.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it in a minute.
Ian, I love you, dude. I wish we would have been running around back in the day. You know what I mean? But you meet when you're supposed to.
Yeah, seriously.
So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely,
you know,
man.
And it's an inspiration. You've come a long way, and it's powerful. And it's going to help somebody.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And same with you, man. You have a crazy story too, and look what you're doing with your life. And you're making a business of it, which I love that, man. And you're bringing the light to these insane stories, and people are loving it, man. You're blowing up. So I appreciate you having me on.
Of course, man. Thanks for coming all the way out here. Ian Heinisch, go check him out, and we'll see you over on Patreon, patreon.com/TheConnectShow. Thanks, buddy.